Hello there everyone, welcome to day 2 of London Esports coverage of the Telia Masters. Today they're going to be facing off against Absolved from the Telia Esports Series Denmark. My name is Middlecut and joining me today to break down the beggar from the POG, it's Leavin.
Yeah, thank you. Very exciting match today, of course. Absolved winning their series yesterday, while London Esports had a bit of an unfortunate start going 1-2 in their first game of this tournament.
So not the greatest start coming through for London, but that was a very close series. I think if you look particularly at the game 2, where they kind of got a little bit big brain drafted with Bifrost picking up the Heimerdinger and the Yone to just shut down the ADC coming out from London. I think that maybe they're thinking that's just a little bit of cheese and they'll be a bit more geared up for this game.
Yeah, of course. London really likes to play around their ADC. Dan Voxna, he is really a veteran of the scene here in the Nordic Championships. Yesterday, the game they won, they went basically protect the Kai'Sa with a Seraphine in the mid lane and the more setup in the top lane and the rest of the roles. So they really like just putting most of their eggs in their ADC basket and play around him. So when they got counter drafted by Bifrost, it was a bit of an unfortunate game. They still had a really good showing, especially in the early game, looked very strong, but was a bit of an unfortunate mid game where they fell apart, and then of course they will have prepared better for it today and will look to continue or get their first win of this Telia Masters 2021 spring season.
Definitely, I think it's important to highlight this bot lane matchup because it is very important to London. It's sort of been their carry through a lot of the UKLC, obviously, but then across from Jeppe and then Voxne is going to be Rhea and Pearson, who are definitely not pushovers. Rhea, a veteran of the scene, been around even longer than Voxne has, and possibly one of the best ADCs that we've got in this tournament.
Yeah, definitely. He has played for a very long time already, and he went back to the Denmark National Championship and took it by storm, going 3-0 in the finals against the number 2 seed Masonic. And they just looked very, very strong. Also yesterday, where he got put on hypercarries both games and did so much in those games, and he is looking very strong.
Yeah, definitely a very terrifying player, but I don't think you can discount them as a one lane team. I think in the jungle, especially, Scoot coming through as a. I'm looking at my notes and I've just got jungle difference personified, honestly, because he has been an absolute terror. His Udyr and Hecarim have been like disgusting to watch in TES Denmark. He's got an 80% KPA on Hecarim over 6 games, and he played 5 games of Udyr domestically, and he's played 2 games of Udyr obviously yesterday, and he's yet to lose on the champion. 100% win rate. He's really just something else in the jungle.
Yeah, I think Absolved's main strength is that proactive movement around the map where they manage to find leads and just snowball them really well. And of course, the main source of that is the jungler Skuda. He has just been doing so well to make sure that his lanes, even if they get counterpicked, don't fall too far behind. And he's just been the core of this team and to make sure that they can always find a way to win this game.
I think as well, interesting you talk about counterpicks. I think one of the big things we saw in Absolve's game yesterday was Gentleman on the side of, is it Deft Fox, I believe, picking out the Jax into the Camille that was being run by Champion. And whilst it went a bit rough for Champion in game 1, he was able to sort of turn that matchup around in the latter half of that game and in game 2, with some help from his team, obviously. Pearson roaming up there as well. And so you really look at this lineup and you say, where is the weak point? Where is this place that London can exploit? Because looking at that team, I can't see anything.
Yeah, what we have seen a bit yesterday as we now get into draft as well, I think what Absolved likes to do, they like to go for pick comms where they try to create leads and snowball them and just select when they want to fight. The way to counter that is either to just make sure that you can match them in that, or go for a very strong team fight and make sure that you don't leave anyone alone to be picked off.
Okay, interesting to see the ADC pool already being focused here by Absolve, banning out the Caitlyn and the center. And there comes the Udyr ban coming through from London. I don't think either of us are too surprised about this one. Interesting thing to note, neither of these teams really placing very much priority on Skarner. I don't think Scoot's played it at all. And PFI, I think he's only played it once in the entire UK LC. So taking away that Udyr possibly means that Hecarim's going to go up in priority for these two teams. And that's going to be interesting for London, especially being on red side. They do quite like the Seraphine as well. So they may end up being drawn into a choice where they have to ban either the Seraphine or the Hecarim. Is that no ban coming through from Absolved?
They might have just forgotten to ban someone, but for now, indeed, 2 ADCs bans really targeting then Voxna, who is that star player of London Esports. Both Camille and Udyr were played yesterday by Absolve to great perfection, and now also the Azir being banned away. They do not want to give those hard scaling picks over, but it does mean the Seraphine is indeed left open, and it's probably going to get picked up. First pick for Absolved.
I mean, I think we both expected this. The no ban coming out from Absolve meaning that we're going, okay, we're going to pick up either the Seraphine or the Hecarim. London opting into that trade, obviously, by banning away the Azir. So you'd expect to pick up a Hecarim here, and obviously this Rel as well. So this is actually 2 very powerful picks coming through from London. I think they'll be quite happy about this.
Yeah, of course, London, how they managed to win their game yesterday was just... I think they dived the enemy bot lane 3 times before 15 minutes, and Rel's a champion that can definitely do that, to just make sure Dan Voxna gets ahead. Now going to pair it up with a Tristana most probably to really enable that snowball potential in the bot lane. But if you now lock in the Tristana, that does mean you leave open Hecarim for Skune.
This is risky. I'm not sure how much of a fan I am of this. This can be flexed, and that is the immediate Hecarim locking coming through from Scoot. He's very happy. But yeah, this Tristana can be flexed to mid for Beely. We did see Denvoxne play it yesterday, but Beely has played this previously in UK LC. The Alistair coming through as a response to the Rel. I don't think either of us is particularly surprised about that. Both of these champions are kind of OP in the support role. And we are going to be seeing what London pick up for their last. Probably going to be jungle here.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be the Lilia, who was played a lot also by London Esports yesterday. Of course, it does not offer the same engage or damage as a Hecarim can do, but it gives a lot more setup for the likes of Denvoxne. If you just manage to put a couple people to sleep, that opens up a lot more space for Denvoxne to jump around and select targets he likes to kill before going on to the next ones.
Yeah, definitely. And it's going to be interesting to see what London choose to ban out here. They do go for the Fiora. Champion is very proficient on this champion, but he would be able to fall back to something like the Gangplank or the Gnar if those aren't banned out as well. Malphite here banned by Absolve. That's targeting Merpillion. So it does look like they're maybe trying to squeeze this top lane matchup a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, of course, Merpillion, he has played a lot of tanks yesterday just to make sure that, well, we can play around bot side and not lose anything in the top side. Now also banning Gnar away. I think banning Gnar and Fiora if you're looking to play a tank is really smart, because tanks themselves do not like those matchups. So now it's also 2 tanks and getting banned away by Absolve, so they do not want to give the Cyan or the Malphite over.
They are hard targeting this top lane, both teams, so they really are interested in this matchup. That is a Gragas. Unless we're going to see some AP Gragas mid shenanigans, you'd have to assume that's going to be going over to Merpillion.
Yeah, of course, I think we're still playing on patch 11.4, where he has not yet received his mana nerfs that he has on the live patch. So he can still throw out a lot of barrels in the top lane and actually be quite annoying to deal with if you don't have a lot of sustain. Now looks like champion locks in the Gangplank for himself. And it's going to be maybe the Rise as well, opening up a lot of side lane potential for Absolved.
Ooh, okay. We are just going to have to wait to see this locked in. We haven't seen Energy on the rise too many times. Mostly tends to stick to control mages like the Orianna, Syndra, and the Nico as well. He's played that a couple times. This looks a little bit more his style. That is going to be locked in. So that's quite a squishy solo lane pairing locked in here by Absolved.
Yeah, of course. But if you look at the side of London, they do not have that much burst. The only real damage source they have so far is the Tristana. They, of course, can still get the counter pick in the mid lane, but counter picking Nico is actually quite difficult because Nico is usually you don't see it a lot in solo queue, so you can't get too much practice against it. And the champion is also just really annoying. So it seems that London are going just for the simple Syndra pickup.
I'm really sad right now because that is a Seraphine bot lane. I was so hyped before this game started. I was going to see Voxne versus Rhea in like a beautiful ADC battle, and he's just like, I'm going to pick Seraphine. She's kind of OP. I'm just going to completely ignore. I don't care about lane. I don't care about kills. I don't care about doing damage. I just want to buff up this Hecarim, this Gangplank, this Nico, get them involved. Oh!
Yeah, I mean, Seraphine indeed one of the more boring bot lane picks, but I mean, you can go for boring as long as it wins you games if you're Absol, because the Seraphine is still one of the strongest champions in the game, and that ultimate is just a bit too overpowered, especially if you pair it up with a lot of AoE CC on the side from the side like Hecarim, Nico, or even Alistar can bring. So it's a very deadly teamfight composition already coming out from Absol.
See, that's the difference between the play-by-play casters and the colours. The more analyst focus. I just want to see kills. I just want to see action. You're like, no, there are some really smart picks here. This is really good. Like, I don't care, man. I just want some action, bro.
Yeah, I actually think that with a Seraphine bot, you can still see quite some action, especially around that level 6. If Absol hit level 6, they have such a long engage range, even with the Hecarim who just runs at someone, and then if they're feared by the Onslaught of Shadows, then you open up the possibility for that Seraphine ultimate or the Alistar re-engage to really solidify winning team fights. But I think London with the Tristana, especially against something like the Seraphine, we can even see a level 2 all-in coming from the bot lane of London Esports.
Yes, potentially. And talk about level 6s, yeah, that Hecarim gank bot lane with all those ultimates coming out is definitely going to be something that potentially scares them Voxne and Hepe. I don't think they're scared quite as easily as perhaps as other bot lanes or intimidated too badly. We do have some posturing here in the mid lane.
Yeah, I mean, no one is really taking any risks as of yet, just going for the 5-point start, not wanting to risk a level 1 fight, which of course sometimes in solo queue especially, level 1 fights can determine games before anything even happens. So if you do not want to give any lead over, because at such a high level as we are right now, giving over a lead at level 1 can be disastrous, but we might actually see a fight happening here.
Yeah, London with a late invade here. They're going to try and scout out the start from Scoot. Is going to be a response here. Oh no, they're walking into a death trap here. He's going to be using that rampage there. But here's the Alistar, and they're in no man's land right now. PFI is in a lot of danger right here. They are going to be turning here onto Energy. PFI looks like he's going to be going down. That's a nice engage coming through from Voxne, but PFI looks like he's going to be dropped for first blood. Might be able to just speed away. Surely he's going to go down now, as he's just toying with Scoot, and it looks like Energy was able to escape, but Rare might not be as lucky, as Beely's going to be picking up a kill there. Ends up being a 1-for-1, and we've already got 2 kills 2 minutes in.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that it's a bit more favored for Absol, because Skude is still alive. He can just start clearing his jungle immediately, does not really lose as much tempo. Same for Energy. He escaped to the mid lane, so he could get wave control first. Beely still went to the bot lane, picking up a kill for himself, but without being able to base, you can't use that kill for anything.
Yeah, and it's about being able to leverage that. I think the XP is such an important thing for junglers, especially early on. Like the difference between a level 3, a level 4, and a level 5 jungle champion is massive, as we've got heavy trading here in the mid lane. But yeah, the difference between those sort of experience points for a jungler can be absolutely massive, especially in early skirmishes over things like scuttle crabs or potentially early dragons or even counter ganks. So Scooter getting the advantage there is definitely not an insignificant thing, as we potentially got a kill in the mid lane.
Oh yeah, Energy has to be really careful. Of course, he was still very low from that invade. Interesting to see though, he went the press the attack rune instead of just Comet.
Ooh.
So I think that does mean, I mean, it gives a lot more lane harass because the auto attacks from Nico, they can be very annoying to deal with the added movement speed she gets when she procs that third auto attack. So it might still mean that she will just go for the AP build. It does open up going for the on-hit build, which if you want a bit more AD damage or the DPS, which Absolve really lacks in this composition, then can be quite useful.
I still have nightmares about on-hit Nico top lane. It was a wonder that used to play it so much, just bullying people. Range tops are bad enough, but when they're actually meta and strong, that's a whole nother beast.
Yeah, they're not fun to deal with for now. London positioning very aggressively in the bot lane. Of course, if a fight were to happen, I think Tristana can easily outdamage a Seraphine at this level. Both junglers still clearing. The top skull already down, Scooter taking it, but PFI not too far behind, only about half a camp if it really matters.
Yeah, that timing still being felt from the earlier invade that London went for, but it doesn't look like it's actually going to translate to anything meaningful yet. We will have to keep an eye on that one. Like I said, fairly even in all these lanes at the moment. Small CS lead here for Merpillion after it looks like Champion did do a cheater recall there. He has come back to lane with the cull, so he's going to be using that to farm up, try and get some extra gold. As Merpillion's just shoving that one in there.
Yeah, I mean, I think going for the call, especially against something like the Gragas, is really smart because we might not be first have a fight in bot lane or mid lane. Yeah, okay. So talking about the call, I think it's really smart because against the Gragas, you're not gonna kill him or get killed at all in the early game. So you can just pick up the call, farm 100 minions, and get a lot more extra value from that item to really build a lead without having to do anything.
And PFI going for an invade here. This is really cheeky going for this still here. We saw he managed to get the Dark Harvest proc off of Scoot there. So it's a formidable Hecarim, but PFI's playing like he doesn't really give a damn. He's just going in there, invading, stealing away camps. And that's actually really big. The Raptors is one of the fastest camps to clear on these AoE junglers like Hecarim. So missing out on that golden XP can definitely be meaningful.
Yeah, I mean, Devok's a bit scared at first. Scooter could be right around the corner. They have no vision to scout him out. Of course, I think the Hecarim, while he is a lot stronger in those 1v1s compared to Lilia, first fight in bot lane.
Nice engage here coming through as we've got the Ignite dropped onto the Alistair. That bomb's going to pop. He might just die. One more tick. Surely going to get him. No, not quite. But the Hecarim's coming in. He's trying to get after Denvoxne. Sel has access to that flash. Would be able to get away as Yepe uses his own there. The Hecarim just going to back away there as the TP is being channeled here. That might be interrupted in the mid lane. No, Beely's here, but he's only level 5. He's so low on HP, but Raya might be lower as he manages to take him down. He hasn't died quite yet. That's a kill coming through for the Hecarim. Nice trade here. It's going to be 3 coming through for Absolved and a massive blunder for London here.
Yeah, I think they just went a bit too far. They forced already the person to go back to the base, and then they try to get something with the TV, but a Syndra without ultimate doesn't do that much damage. But now Champion in trouble.
Flash coming out from Champion is going to eat those oranges, but it's not going to. K-Man slowly going to get. Oh no! Flashes away, gets the W. Grags is going to drink you under the table, scrub. As that's a dive coming through for London in the top lane.
Yeah, Merpillion not wanting to risk dying there. If you would go for if Champion would get that 1-for-1 trade, then it would be definitely worth. He could still TP back in, catch all the minions, which he does now. If you would have gotten the gold from like the kills, well, then I actually think it would have been worth for Champion. Because he uses the gold a lot better than the Gragas, of course. I think Gragas just spikes at one item and then can build more tank items, but he's not going to do much more.
Ooh, Onslaught Shadows coming through onto the Syndra. Not going to get rooted up there, but it looks like she will be going down. Flash burn, but still going. And I'm sorry for the Gragas impression, by the way. After the top lane dive, I made a small little promise of myself that if we did get a Gragas locked in and he did get a kill, that I would be doing the impression. And I've done it, and it feels like a bad idea. It feels like something I shouldn't have done. But it's fine. It's fine. We make it through. We make it through. It's around about a 1k gold lead here for Absolved as we're just cresting the 8-minute mark. Dragon has spawned. Neither team really pressuring around that as Murph going for a big trade here onto Champion. Manages to pop the barrel here. Does have access to the ultimate. He is going to bop him back as he might be getting a solo kill here onto Champion with the Gragas. A very angry fat man bonks him down, drinks him under the table.
I think he just wants to hear your impersonation again.
Maybe that's what it is.
Picking up another solo kill, or not a solo kill. I mean, not first solo kill, but getting a kill against the Gangplank as a tank is quite good.
No,
now.
They're going to get bounced back here by the Alistair. The stun coming through very nice as Reyes taking a load of damage here. We've got Denvoxne jumping in. That's a 1-for-1 at the moment. He is going to be dropping the Drowsy. Those are some very sleepy animals. Are just going to be able to back away here. 1-for-1 here in the bot lane. I'm really happy with that, as Beely might not be happy with this. Energist able to auto him down as the TP's being channeled here. The action does not stop. Merpillion trying to make a play here. Double sums up on energy, so he is going to be able to flash away. That chem tank means that he's going to get slowed up. The barrel coming through, and he's just going to be able to get out of that. Action all over the place right now.
Yeah, I think Nico picking up the Berserker Grease is quite a smart move, I think, because it makes so you can proc that W passive quite easily, get that movement speed, and with that movement speed you can dodge around Syndra, but now...
Oh, but you can't dodge a horse when he's ghosted and he's angry, just able to take down PFI. As I said, this guy's jungle diff personified. 6-0 on 1 on a Hecarim at 9.5 minutes.
Yeah, that's going to be very difficult to deal with for London. Scuda just ramping around the map, not taking no for an answer if he runs in, just running down the Lilia, who does not really have an escape. I think, especially until 3-4 items, Lilia will never win that fight against Hecarim. Now he's going for a
no, the ultimate doesn't quite connect here. Billy doesn't have flash, so he is just going to get taken down as well. Oh my goodness, this mid lane is not going well at the moment. Already 25 CS down, 1-4. And this Nico pick actually working out fairly well, but I think this is all in the Hecarim right now for Absolved.
Yeah, it's, I mean, it's definitely not bad that you put everything, because if you go for something like the Seraphine, you don't really need gold onto that. The Gangplank will just get a lot of gold by itself. You really need something to help you through the early game, which, if a Hecarim gets fed, it's exactly what he can do. Already completing the Triforce, well, Lilia still only has the Boots of Lucidity, so he can just, I think, decide, well, I want to gank bot lane now, so I can run to the bot lane, and there's no way of really stopping him if he has that ultimate, which of course makes him unstoppable. So I think London, they have to play it really safe and make sure that they keep track of where Scuda is on the map, so when they see him in the top lane, for example, they can go for something in the bot lane.
Yeah, and I think that this bot lane is definitely the strong point for London at the moment. Whilst we may not have got the ADC versus ADC brawl that we were hoping for, we're definitely seeing Denvoxne come out with a bit of a lead here. As we've got Yepe coming for a little bit of a gank here onto Energy. Doesn't quite have the level 6. Is going to flash in the ult pop by the Nico, but that shield isn't going to do anything when you've got sweet F-all AP. She is going to be able to escape though. That's a nice run from Hepe. We like to see him do that a lot in the UKLC. He's a very active support player. There are some that just like to stay in lane and bodyguard their ADC, and I think you could possibly get baited into doing that when you've got someone as strong as Denvoxne, but it's really important, especially with the jungle meta being how it is at the moment, to get out on the map as a support and try and impact other lanes.
Yeah, but I mean, Yepe, he's been doing it a bit too much this game, I think, because when he roamed into mid lane, he was still stuck at level 5, as now Scuda just goes in.
This might not be great for him. He is going to be drowsy, he is going to be falling asleep, but I don't know if it's going to matter, as they are going to be able to take down Yepe here. Oh, and that's PFI going down as well off the other side of the screen. Champion getting another kill for Absolve there, and that's a 2 for 0 as we potentially got a fight here. No.
Oh yeah, Energy trading aggressively.
Ooh, that's a nice
really
stun.
careful. I mean, Energy still has the barrier up, so he can just play quite aggressively and bait out some damage from Beely. Of course, has to be careful to not get stunned up and not able to use the barrier. For now, I mean, it's just, there's not really a way for London to really deal with Skude on that hacker as of yet. They need to get some items under their belt and to make sure that if he would engage, they can at least survive for a bit. And then also have enough damage to kill him before he just heals everything back up and killing everyone while doing that.
Well, this is what you were talking about earlier. London trying to secure some vision in the jungle of Absolve, so they know where this Hecarim is, but it might not be able to help out this Metal Horsey, as he's just going to come in here. But even if he's getting stunned, he's not being taken down anytime soon. He knows what's up, as this might actually be first tower coming through for them Voxnay here. So that is going to feel very good if you're London. That's gold going on the one damage dealer that's still in a fairly good position.
Yeah, and of course, I really think also that then Fox can play those team fights later on in the game very well. Of course, Tristana can buffer the rocket jump to dodge away from CC like we just saw, but Skude is fast enough.
Is going to pop that buster shot. Bye-bye, Horsey. As I think there was an accidental Herald summon in the bot lane. Oh, that's another solo kill.
Oh!
Man, Merpillion is something else. He really, really is.
Yeah,
we were saying that the gangplank is going to have a safe lane. No. No, he's not.
Gets counterpicked. It just decides, well, I get counterpicked. Doesn't matter. I can still kill you. And he's been really using that gold lead he got from that dive early on to now secure his second solo kill. Of course, it's going to be quite difficult for champions to really deal any damage to Merpillion until you get that last Whisper to burn through some of the armor. For now, it's Moonstone being completed by PFI. He's taking a more supportive role in this game. Of course, he does not have to be the main AP damage source, as we still have Beely on the Syndra, but it also means that London, they really want to look for more extended team fights, survive the initial burst, and then just heal everything back up.
Leavin, look at the Nico's inventory. That is a Wit's End and a Noon Quiver. We are getting on-hit Nico in Telia Masters. I don't know how I feel about this. I was going to say that I'm hyped, but I'm kind of not. I don't want this to come back, man. Energy, no. You need to find a way to mess this up. Otherwise, I'm going to be seeing this in solo queue for the next 2 months, and I'm not happy about that, man.
I mean, at least it's not a Gnar support, which I had to cast in a different tournament and then see my solo queue games right after. But of course, on-hit Nico can be very difficult to deal with if you are an immobile mage like the Syndra, because Nico gets quite a bit of movement speed from her W, which she can use to really dodge around all the skill shots from a Syndra. Which
that was lovely dodge there in the top lane from Merpillion. He's got a huge spectral horse behind him and he just sort of like moves himself away. As we've got Voxnay moving here onto Champion, getting a solo kill. Champion, you're not having... just like stick with some buddies, man. It's dangerous to go alone, dude. That's the third solo kill, I think, onto this guy.
Yeah, I mean, if we go back 10 minutes, I talked about, okay, well, picking up the calls very smart. You just want to farm up safely and cash that in. Instead, he does not get the opportunity to. It still has 10 stacks left, and he's just getting solo killed now for the third time. He is not having a great game. Of course, the rest of his team is there to make up the difference with Skude and Energy just kind of smurfing it up. But I think as the gold, if you look at the scoreboards, it seems that Absolve is a lot farther ahead. But if you look at the gold, it's only a 2.5k gold lead for them, which is definitely not doomed for London Esports.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see if we just take a look at the individual champions, how they go match up. That is a 2.5k gold lead for this Tristana. And that's kind of mirrored in this jungle matchup as well with this lead for Skude. And then the rest of the gold lead is in the mid lane as well. We've got another 2k. So it really, it's going to be a battle. Let's see if Densvoxene is good enough to take on Energy and Skude at the same time. Whether he's going to be able to carry his team to a victory here. But I wouldn't be too happy if I was Absolved. I think you had a decent early game, but you've not really progressed in a way that you might have wanted to here.
Yeah, I mean, it is not that easy for them to actually really snowball that lead, because while they have quite a good team fight comp with a lot of AoE CC, it's difficult to really reach anyone on London Esports unless they are put into a choke point. So I think what Absolved really want to do is just wait until the Dragon spawn or until the Baron spawns, and then look for fights, really set up around those objectives, because you have some gold lead which you can then use to push in the side lanes, make sure you get vision control over objectives, and then when the objectives spawn, either you get them for free or you get a very good team fight for yourselves.
Yeah, definitely. It's hard for them to walk into London, but if they are able to force fights around objectives, they can definitely get something down. Speaking of objectives, we got the second summon of the Rift Herald going to be taken here by Skude. Interesting that the Dragon's not really been a massive priority. That first one was taken quite late. Mountain Drake is coming up in around about 45 seconds, but it doesn't look like Dragon Soul's really going to be on the cards for quite a while for, well, definitely either of these teams. So Absolved might have to look for alternative ways of trying to leverage this gold lead and get the win.
Yeah, I mean, I think London will be quite happy if it's going to be a Cloud Soul, because that would mean that, okay, Absolved gets to use their ultimates a bit more, but it does not give them a win condition, like, for example, the Ocean Soul or the Infernal Soul. So if it were to be a Cloud Soul, it means that they do not necessarily have to fight every single Drake, and thus not really fall into those choke points, which Absolved really wants them to go into.
Yeah, 2 items now going to be picked up by Energy as London is sieging onto this top lane tower. No members from Absolved around here. It's going to be Skude just picking up the Drake. So I think London are aware that this is a trade that they're going to be doing, but valuing this tower gold on Densvoxene a little bit more than a little bit of armor and magic resist. Do you think it's a good trade for them at the moment?
I mean, it does mean you put a lot more gold onto your main carry, which is Densvoxene, but I think putting all your gold in one person, while it can be very good if you have like such a strong player like Densvoxene, it also makes it very vulnerable, because with the amount of engage Absolved has, if they can get onto Densvoxene and kill him, then there is very low chance that London can actually win the follow-up team fight.
As he is split pushing in the top lane, and London are going to be giving up 2 towers now, so definitely not worth at the moment, but maybe an unavoidable trade. Is it Shelly or Shirley the second summon? I can't remember.
I think it's Shirley.
Going to be getting a charge off into the inhib nonetheless, and doing a whole bunch of damage, as Champion is going to be collected the remnants of that destroyed tower in the top lane. Drake was taken there by Absolved, so nothing too much for these teams to fight over for the next few minutes, unless one of them wants to maybe take a look at Baron.
Yeah, I mean, so it is going to be a Cloud Soul, which I talked about earlier, is actually not that bad for London. It means that if they were to choose to not fight those dragons, then they can just wait for 10 more minutes, let Absolved take those 2 drakes, and then when the Elder spawns, and you potentially have a lot more gold in your pocket, so you're in a better position to fight for that Elder Drake, then you can... Because the Elder Drake is a lot more useful than a Cloud Soul. So if you would just give the Cloud Soul away, fight the Elder Drake on better terms, I would take it any day of the week.
Yeah, speaking about getting fights on better terms, how do you feel about Grievous Wounds? Sort of just generally, and in this game specifically. The only source of it on at the moment on London is Mapillion with this Bramble Vest, but I'm seeing like an Immortal Shield Bow, this Hecarim, obviously disgustingly high amount of healing in that champion's kit. And the Seraphine as well with the Moonstaff build. Is it something that London should be considering picking up here?
I mean, definitely. If you almost every game you play against the Moonstaff, you are forced to pick it up at least for third or fourth item, because otherwise, while you might deal enough damage to kill one target on the enemy team, the rest of them will just heal everything back up, and that is not what you want. So picking up the anti-heal, I think it shouldn't be Beely or PFI picking up, because they have an easier time of really spreading that anti-heal to the rest, and they are not the main damage source. Because if they would let Dan Voxner pick it up, then it does mean that Dan Voxner can buy less full-on damage items for himself, as the Baron is now getting started.
TP available on Merp and Beely, so they are going to be able to join this fight. This Baron is going quite low, around about 4k, as Absolved are going to go for an engage. But that is a really nice stun from the Rel coming through, but that Nico ult is so invaluable, stopping the dive coming out from London, as then Voxnay is able to pick up a kill. We've got a whole bunch of cooldowns going down. So low are all of these champions, and PFI is going to get chased down. Here comes the Hecarim, going ham on this deer, as that's going to be a 4 for 2. Sorry about that. That's a 3 for 1 in favor of Absolved. That was so close.
Yeah, I mean, Absol did get caught by the very good engage from Jeppe, but I think we didn't really saw it on the screen. The person was blocking Dan Voxner from really jumping in, which meant that, okay, you got the nice 4-man engage, you do not have enough damage to then kill them, which then, when you have a Seraphine who can just get the W double cast and just shield and heal everyone back up at least 300 HP, then, well, all that engage was for nothing, and then it's back to 0 for London. They did manage to pick up the kill for Dan Voxner, but he got taken out as soon as he really jumped in to go for more, and yeah, it was very well played by Person, even though we did not see it that much.
Yeah, definitely. Was the Baron picked up after the team fight by Absolved here? We've got Drake spawning in around about 20 seconds, so interested to see whether they're going to be trying to use this to push, or if they're just going to be backing off. It does look like they're going to be going for this. Beely's here in the top lane, no TP available, so I don't think he's too concerned about going for a fight here, as PFI should be concerned right now, because he's getting rooted, he's getting shooted. Oh my word, this Hecarim is so freaking fed right now, man.
Yeah, I mean, actually, he gets matched in items by PFI, but of course PFI's items are a lot cheaper. Being able to have that Triforce and the Stardust Gauge means that it's going to be very difficult for anyone on London to really burst through that insane HP bar that he will have. Now it's Absolved already sieging in onto the inhib turrets. Waves are not synced up perfectly, so it's going to be a bit awkward, but they still take down the mid turret and are looking to get the bot turret as well.
I think Beely pushing out the top wave, trying to prevent a situation where Absolved were able to play on multiple lanes, but it looks like they're going to be doing that. Anyways, we've got Person going in with a nice knock up here, as we've got the Hecarim diving into the backline, throwing up Den Voxnay, but that's not a lot of damage coming through. There's a huge ult coming out from Rel, charming multiple people, as Ray has already taken down Beely in the fight. The sleep coming through, meaning that the engage is sort of slowed a little bit here. Energy's trying to come in. It's just the 1 kill picked up here for Absolved, but they might be looking for the end anyway.
I mean, I think the healing from Seraphine is just going to be too much. Everyone's going to be back to full health as we see the last engage.
Yeppe's going for this, but is it going to be enough now? We've got a fair bit of damage coming out from Champion as he's taken down Merpillion. He's taken down this Gragas. It's a double kill coming through for him. And after being a little bit sad, a little bit bullied this game in the top lane, it looks like Absolved are going to be able to take this game 1 of this best of 3 series as London fall. That's game 1 coming through for Absolved.
Yeah, I mean, very strong showing from Absolved. They went into the early game with a plan, get Skude ahead, let him say where we go and where we fight, and they went to bot lane, picked up some kills, went to the top lane, did not pick up any kills there, then went to the mid lane, picked up kills, so they just went everywhere. Okay, well, you step up too far, we get kills, and we snowball, and that's exactly what Absolved did. I really think that London, they tried their best. They got a lot of gold onto Dan Voxner, but Just they did not have enough peel to really keep the hacker away from him.
Yeah. Just ban it. Just ban it. I don't think you need to sort of take the risk there. I think banning Scoots Udyr, banning his Hecarim, I think is fine. Then you can sort of go to these second tier of jungle champions, and that's going to be all okay. We're going to be going to a short break now, but if you just hang around for a little bit, you'll be able to join us full game 2 in around about 10 minutes. So don't go anywhere. We will see you soon. Hello there, welcome back to Game 2 of Match 2 of Day 2 of the Telia Masters with London taking on Absolved. Absolved able to get the W in the first game, and it really was something of a game, wasn't it, Leavin?
Yeah, definitely. It was quite a close game until about the 25-minute mark, where at that point, then Absolved's Scude mainly was just too strong to deal with, and then they could just run over team fights and end the game. But I think if you're London, you now, okay, game one was close, but you have to really start winning. What they have to look first at is, I think, the draft. They put most of their damage source into Den Voxen, put all of their gold in him, but with the comp they had around him, they were just unable to really protect him well enough for him to really allow him to just free fire onto the front line.
Yeah, I think ban Hecarim. I think I said it before the break, and I'm going to say it again. Scudi is just disgusting on that champion. You do not want to deal with it. But I think it's interesting you talk about a lack of protection. I think there was a lack of agency as well as their composition as well. I think Absolve did a really good job of banning out a lot of Merpillian's sort of like preferred tank pool. And whilst he was able to do some work on the Gragas, picking up a nice couple solo kills, I think having that engage in the top lane and being able to use it in team fights is something that London really sort of lacked, as he was forced into the 1v1 a lot of the time.
Yeah, definitely. But also talking about agency, I think PFI, well, he did perform well on the Lilia yesterday. I don't think it's the best pick against Scude, because Lilia, she just likes to play reactively. She likes to farm, and if she sees a gank happening, she might just run down to help out her team. But besides that, she does not really want to look for fights actively. And that is not really what you want if you're playing against Scude, who really likes to just run around the map and gank whenever possible and really just fight. If you play against someone with that playstyle, you have to be able to match that, to say the least.
Yeah, I think when you're playing against players as good as the ones on Absolve, you need to have some way of forcing fights when it's to your advantage, and I think there's definitely lacking there from the London side. The mid lane matchup as well, not going great for them. The Syndra sort of going down a little bit to this on-hit Nico, but hopefully Billy's had a look at that. He's talked to one of the coaches or something, and they've identified where the problem occurred in that lane. So I don't think that's going to be too much of a issue for them to worry about for the remainder of this series.
Yeah, I mean, against the Nico, of course, you'd never see it in solo queue. Like, how can you prepare for an on-hit Nico to just show up in your lane? You cannot. So I think, yeah, well, okay, there might be some mistakes. Don't really call him out too much on it, because what had he to prepare against it? I think what they should instead just do is look at the whole team. How could they have done it better when they could have won fights? I think the main point where London Esports could have played a bit better is in that crucial fight around the Baron, where even though they got a near perfect engagement to 4 members of Absolved, they were only able to take down 1.
Yeah, definitely. And do you think Absolved need to sort of change much in anticipation of a reaction coming out from London? We've talked about that, possibly that Hecarim being banned out, and maybe London trying to draft a bit more, engage a bit more agency. Do you think Absolved need to do anything in particular to respond to that?
I think mainly Champion has to change a bit, because if you're a Gangplank, he picked it as the counter pick to the Gragas, and he got solo killed 3 times in total. I think what you should do, especially if you're expected to see a bit more engaged in agency coming from the side of London, you have to look for something a bit more safer. Because if you're just going to get killed over and over again, it gives that opportunity for London to start snowballing and play the game that they want to play.
Yeah, talking about engage, Absolved actually banning the Rel this time, okay? So looking at what Hepe was able to do on that and recognising that if that fight of the Baron had gone a little bit differently, that they didn't want to deal with that. Actually, the Tristana ban as well, so a lot of respect here being paid to the bot lane coming out from London as they are waiting on their last ban. I hope this is the Hecarim.
Yeah, I'm expecting to see a Hecarim bend as well. That does mean you leave the Seraphine open, which instead is going to be the Seraphine bend, so they might have now have an answer towards the Hecarim, while the Chase is being hovered. One thing that is now left open is the Kai'Sa, which of course Dan Voxner played yesterday and won with it on the first game against. I forgot to write it in against. Fuck, I can't
I
remember.
cannot remember it to the life of me. But
Okay, whatever.
it's fine. We've got the Azir being locked in here for Absolved. This is an interesting one. It was actually the last ban from London last time around we did these drafts, so it's going to be interesting to see what they respond with. It is going to be a Syndra picked up here.
Yeah, I mean, Syndra, of course, is seen as one of the counters to Azir just because Azir wants to sit back, farm, and skill. Syndra can stop that by just having the gank setup that is needed to really, together with your jungler, shut down the Azir before he scales too far.
Right now, this is a Hecarim lock-in, right?
I hope so. If you don't look in, okay, they instead want to go back to the Gragas from Marpillion, of course.
I think
Marpillion
is going to be really happy about this one.
I mean, Marpillion, of course, had a good showing on the Gragas, so it's definitely not a bad pickup, but indeed it does now mean that the Hecarim is still open. But maybe London have just decided, okay, well, now we're going to try something different. We have prepared a counter to the Hecarim. Of course, Skarner is left open, which has been coming up as one of the counters to him, just because you can take away the Hecarim before he really likes to engage. So instead, then they want to just bait Absolved into picking it. Absolved now picking it up because, I mean, it's still as good as Hecarim. He went on a rampage last game, and it seems that Nars is now also going to be picked up.
So what I'm hearing is that London are playing 200 IQ, 8-dimensional chess. And Absolved are just playing League of Legends, bro. They're not going to be locked in. This was banned out last game. So Champion going to be able to pick that one up into the Gragas. And London are going to be looking to lock in their last pick here. Could be jungle, because that could potentially get pinched on these next round of bans. Is going to be the Scar lock.
It is going to be the Scar. Yeah. That does now mean that both solo laners for Absolved are already locked in, but that does mean that they will get a counter pick to at least the ADC or the support of London, because London still has the last pick to get the final counter pick. But I think showing Azir and Gnar early on showcases that, okay, well, we can either look for those team fights because we have very strong ultimates, or we can just keep pushing in side lanes because we are also very good at taking down turrets.
It's sort of not what we typically see as well. We usually see solo lanes reserved for the last pick here, so they're maybe a bit more confident in taking these picks and saving ADC support this duo for last, as that's the Aphelios ban there. Champion, we have seen rising in priority, not seeing it too much, but I'm hearing whispers that he's kind of strong.
Yeah, of course, he is still a very strong DPS champion, deals a lot of damage, and with the comp that London has so far, with a lot of peel coming out, then an Aphelios would be quite strong. So banning away, of course, is very smart. The Kai'Sa is still not yet banned, as two support are being banned away by London.
I think London are going, either you ban out the Alistair or we just pick it here. And they're going to save an ADC counter pick, possibly for Yepe.
Yeah, I mean, Kai'Sa, I think then Voxen will just go to the Kai'Sa because the other strong ADCs in the current patch are all banned out. So if you pick it up, then the only real ADC option left is the Jhin for Raya. And what you can do against the Jhin is just gank it, or just pick an engaged support and really just jump onto him and kill him. That is Irelia.
That is Irelia. Oh, okay. So I was baited by the flex so hard I didn't even realise it was there. This is a Gragas being flexed into support, and that is going to be Marpillion's Irelia in the top lane.
Yeah,
that's a really good matchup into the Gnar. Okay. I've been baited.
I mean, everything can indeed be flexed. Bard being picked up for Person, I think. Blind pick Bard can be quite good because, I mean, against the Gragas support, Gragas needs to hit that body slam to really do anything, and if you poke him out a lot before that body slam even hits, like the Bard can do, then he's not gonna want to jump in, and so now Vayne is also being covered.
Right, Vayne is terrifying, but it is going to be the Ashe coming through. Nordic ADC picking a very cold champion, not surprised there, but this is a lot of team fight starting tools coming out from Zolt here. The Hecarim, the Bard, and the Ashe. They've got so many opportunities to do things, and then you've got follow-up CC coming through from Azir and Gnar. I'm really liking this if we start 5v5ing.
Yeah, but now Jhin is being hovered. I think it will just get locked in. Of course, what the Ashe Bard will do is, well, they are not that strong in lane. They want to look to use their ultimate somewhere else and basically do the same thing as the Absolve bot lane did last game with the Seraphine LSR, where we kind of sacrificed the laning phase to have a better shot in the mid game to look getting picks or just to set up team fights. It seems now then Voxna picking up the Jhin, that shows that he really wants to have a more dominant laning phase and really punish that Ashe Bard lane and be more of a scary threat, especially against the lack of tanks that Absolved has.
It's a very, very scary bot lane. A lot of CC, a lot of setup. So if we get a Skarner coming down here as well, it's going to be really difficult for Riot on this immobile AD carry in the Ashe to get out of this one. Leavin, why is Irelia so why is her face so big in Champ Select? Like, I can't be the only person who's noticed that. I look at that slither, and she's just like there. Her face is massive. London are hopefully going to be pulling out massive plays with her, but it throws me off, man. It's disconcerting.
I've never really paid attention to it, but now that you say it, indeed, it's a large face. I mean, I don't really know how to analyze that. I thought you were just going to ask why is it a good counter pick against the Gnar, but instead to question about her face. But I mean, talk about why she's so good into the Gnar. It's because she can just what Gnar does not. Gnar wants to kite away, so he does not want anyone to jump right on top of him. What an Irelia can do, she stacks up her passive, then tries to jump in with her second E and then Q at the same time to proc her stacks to reset the Q as well. And really just get into the face of Gnar, dance around him and just deal a lot of damage because Irelia has an insane amount of damage, especially early on.
And Minar that's behind is definitely a champion that can get bullied. He does have a lot of speed, a bit of mobility in his kit, but he's not particularly tanky, so if you're able to punish him once, it's the sort of lane that can really snowball out of control in favour of Merpillion. London just going to be doing a nice spread out start here, trying to see if Absolved are going to be going for any invades or any shenanigans, but it doesn't look like it for now.
Yeah, I mean, London of course went for the invade last game where they sat in the pixel bush, which is now awarded by Absolved, so they don't want a repeat of that. For now, some emote spending in the mid lane, energy turning into a nice dove.
It's more of a pigeon, I think.
Yeah.
Dove sounds more like royal, more emperor-like, but as is kind of obnoxious, I'm more happy calling that a pigeon. You know the right, bit of a tangent again. You know the Shurima shuffle?
Yes.
Yes, the famous you move in with the ultimate. I maintain, and I have for many years, that should be called the pigeon sec. Because Azir's he's like a bird, and it's kind of like an insect. You're going behind them, you're pushing them back into your team. I just think pigeon sec. It's actually quite difficult to say. Maybe it shouldn't be called that.
Yeah, indeed, the Shurima shuffle is a bit easier to say, and I think
rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, also it's a bit more clear of what it is meant to do, as we see Merpillion just jumping into the face of Champion.
So I have bad ideas, but you know what wasn't a bad idea? Flexing that Gragas and pulling out the Irelia, already trading very heavily onto Champion. Now, this is a counter matchup, so this is something that we expected. Because we've got heavy trade in the bot lane as well. But that's we wanted to see a bit more proactivity, a bit of big brainness coming out from London in the draft, and I think they've definitely done that.
Yeah, definitely. They picked a lot more agency, at least in the jungle for PFI. Of course, the Skarner can actually run at people and gank them, while instead of the Lilia, who just likes to dance around. I think the main area of focus for him is going to be either the mid lane, where you have good gank setup with the Syndra, or the bot lane, where if Jeppe would hit level 6 and use that cast to just throw everyone away into the waiting arms of PFI, but instead he wants to dive it top lane.
Unexpected. Okay, Nas opting in. He's going in. Going to be able to use that flash. We've got Merpillion going under the tower. Going to be getting the first blood. Traded there, but Champion is going to lose a massive amount of CS to that tower. So bit of an L9 play there, a little bit coming up from Merpillion, but I think it's worth it.
I mean, it's definitely worth if you already get the Fem Scepter compared to only a Ruby Crystal for Champion. You're going to be so much more dominant in the lane as now PFI is going to get called out.
Oh, we've got the TP going to be channeled here from Merpillion, trying to go for a fight here, but they are just going to be able to kite away up to Champion here.
Ooh, yeah.
Potentially got mortals. We've got all the bot lane roaming up here from Resolve. This is going to be a 5-on-3 maybe. They are just going to back away there. And although it might be trouble here for Raya, as he's been caught in the river here by the Gragas. Going to be ignited, going to get slowed up. And also coming out there, forced to flash away. Hepe goes in. Hepe gets the kill. As it's 2 for 1 at the start of this game for London.
Yeah, I mean, okay, now Person recalling a bit dangerously, but he does not get spotted out. I think it was a lot of summoners blown by London to get that kill, but picking up another kill to really start creating momentum for yourself is a very good thing. If you're Absolve now, you have to think, okay, well, mid, bot, and support all burnt their summoners. Skude, can you please come and gank? Because without summoners, Jhin and the Syndra are going to be very vulnerable.
I think we can say the same about this Ashe as well, though. Neither ADC really the most mobile, and Hecarim and Skarner are both sort of champions that really thrive in environments where they can just jump on AD carries.
Yeah, definitely. Skude did go for a little invade already. 9 CS up onto PFI, which in the early game is quite a bit, 1 level advantage as well. But for now, I think PFI should not worry about it too much, because as soon as he hits level 6, then he's gonna really become a champion and be useful. Before then, Skarner doesn't really do much.
Yeah, definitely. He's not the most like mobile champion until he is able to get to level 6. And he's a little bit tanky with the levels and able to access his ultimate to pull people in. So we've got Hepe ganking mid at level 3. Just going to be walking through here. Stat weak, doesn't connect. His energy is just going to be fine in this one. But we talked about maybe Hepe roaming a little bit too much last game. It doesn't look like Den Voxne is under too much pressure here, so he should be fine for now.
Yeah, but that now does give the opportunity for Skude to at least start up the Drake, because when you leave Den Voxne alone in the bot lane, it's very easy for a bot lane like Ashe Bard to push that in and create the priority that's really needed to pick up an early Drake. Jeppe is maybe gonna jump over to also face check something, but instead just throws out a simple Baron to make sure that to actually scout ahead of him before jumping in. For now, I think that we won't see a lot happening. Merpillion will still be very strong in that top lane, but Champion hitting level 6, especially in that Mega Gnar form, is going to be quite safe and will just be able to disengage.
He's going to be able to gnaw onto this Irelia. That's a lot of damage coming through onto her now, but she is going to be able to get that level 6. Champion seeing that, doesn't want to be slowed up, doesn't want to be disarmed, so he's just going to be walking out of that one. As much just going to be able to heal up a little bit here off the passive. And we talked about adaptation maybe coming through from Resolved as well, reacting to what London might want to do here, as we've got a nice gank coming through in the top lane from Skude. He's going to be able to get that ultimate onto this already. The flashy away coming out very nicely, avoiding the gank there. They'll still have access to his own ultimate, so if they try and regank, that could be potentially dangerous for them. Looks like Scooter's just going to back away. Oh, they're going to go for this town. Now, this is potentially dangerous. There is a Skarner coming up here. Doesn't quite have access to the ultimate. The stun going to be able to land here onto Champion as the horse is going to go in, but Irelia is able to kite this one away. They didn't expect the Skarner here. They didn't expect PFI. Now, this Hecarim has got no mana. You have to feel that he's just going to get taken down here, and it's going to be 2 kills coming through for the Scorpion.
Yeah, I think very well played by London, just waiting out that dive. The wave clear was not fast enough for Champion to just immediately shove the wave onto the turret and force the dive, which gave that opportunity for PFI to just run up to the top lane and make sure that Merpillion would stay alive. Merpillion played it very well. Instead of going in with his Q onto Champion to get more procs off, he instead chooses to just dash towards the minions and go back to safety while PFI really does the rest.
That's PFI burning the flash there in mid on the attempt to gank to energy. Is able to shuffle away there. But it's a much better looking early game for London right now. Are down that Drake, but they are 1.5k gold up, 4 kills to 1. And this is much better coming out from them.
Yeah, definitely looking very good. But now it's Beely getting engaged.
That's a nice scatter of the week coming out from Beely, dissuading the engage from energy. Saw the play, but Syndra just went, no.
Yeah. I mean, it shows again Yep is just also moving up to the mid lane. So then Fox has to be careful, dodges away from the arrow very nicely. So for now, I mean,
Ryo's aiming for someone different with that one. There's someone on the Summoner's Rift in like a rank game or something. They're 2-2 in their promos, and they've just got hit by an Ash Arrow and lost the game. And it's Ryo's Ash Arrow.
That was actually a bug in TFT where when Ashe was in the game, she would sometimes ult, and if she died during her ultimate, the Ashe arrow would just continue flying towards a different board and maybe hit someone else from a different player, which was kind of awkward sometimes. But,
that sounds like a feature. That doesn't sound like a bug.
Maybe it is. But because Yep has been roaming so much, trying to get something done in the mid lane, it does mean that then Fox is now 20 CS behind already in the bot lane compared to Raya, which is quite a lot early on. Of course, now Raya already with the Noon Perfect compared to then Fox, who only has a pickaxe and a longsword. Champion might get dove now, but PFI and BD gets spotted out.
That's good jungle sense coming through from Skid, knowing that they can go for that. I think there was still an award as well. And PFI may have just shown himself a little bit on vision. As we've got the suppression coming through onto the Adir. The stun going to land as well, but the CC isn't perfectly changed. It's not going to matter. Energy's going to be dropping, and now Shelly's helping out. This Irelia is doing so much damage right now with his Blade Surge. A double kill coming through from Merpillion, as London taking another skirmish and winning it out on the top side.
Yeah, Merpillion just showing that last game on that Gragas was not a fluke. He can also play those carries and get solo kills, or just pick up kills wherever he wants. And instead, we talked about adapting drafts. We mainly talked about trying to shut down Scooty. We didn't talk enough about how Merpillion, how dominant he was, and he's just showing how strong he can be.
If it was Merpillion on Gragas, he would have predicted that ultimate, the flash coming out from Champion, and knocked him back. Bardock going to be popped here as he's going to go through and he's going to find himself a Scorpion, but PFI might be the one getting caught here. Is going to get feared back into Champion, who might be able to get the kill here. Yes, that's a shutdown coming through onto the Gnar. Bit of a blunder there by London, but given the last 5 minutes of gameplay, I don't think they're going to be too worried about that one.
Yeah, definitely. They are still almost 2,000 gold ahead, which for 11 minutes into the game is quite nice. I think the main gold lead is onto Merpillion, who has just been very, very dominant in this top lane. Around the rest of the map, everything is just even in CS, even in kills, except the jungle where PFI picks up 2 kills, but he's behind a bit in CS, so it does not really matter. I think what London wants to do now is different to how they won their other games. Normally, they like to play through their bot side, really get the Fox ahead and let him do an insane amount of work in the team fights. Instead, they now have to look to Merpillion, let him be the carry and decide where to fight. Because an Irelia who gets unleashed in team fights, good luck stopping that.
Definitely, and I think this was it all goes back to what has ended up being a really smart draft coming out from London. I think you and I were both baited a little bit by the early Gragas pick, but I think they were holding it as a flex. They knew that Mopilian performed well on it in the previous game, so maybe baiting absolved a little bit with that one, and they are taking full advantage now as this Inara is just going to get bullied, going to get stunned up, going to get taken down. Mopilian with another kill, 4-1 on this Irelia, doing serious work right now.
Yeah,
that was really the steal on the Drake there from the Voxnay. And it's nice to see. It's nice to see London doing this different style, not just playing about Dem, because he is a very good player. But sometimes, even the best players have to play weak side, and they've gotten this counter matchup for Merp, and they are really leveraging it really well. He is so far ahead of this now at the moment, and he's trying to move to other parts of the map to influence them as well.
Yeah, he is still playing it very safe because he has been left alone for at least half the game almost, and against a lane with that much engage like the Ashe and the Bard, it's very good to stay alive, which now Raya has to flash out.
Ooh, you definitely take that as Gragas. You got that body slam on like an 8-second cooldown or something, but that Ashe flash ain't going to be around for another half of 10 minutes is 5 minutes. Oh my word, I forgot what half of 10 minutes was.
Well,
oh, come on. That's just rude. That's just rude. Let Shelly get the plates. Now you're just going to punch her in the eye. That's just mean, dude. As we've got a TP coming through here in the top lane from Energy. He was responding to, I think, an attempted dive there by London.
yeah,
Nothing
now
too much
go.
burn. That's a really nice flash response coming out from Mopilian, dodging away from the Emperor's Divide. He's playing incredibly well. That's double summoners here on these squishy damage dealers. Double flashes down on the squishy damage dealers coming out from Absolved. And when there's a Skarner on the team, when there is a Gragas as well, that's going to be causing some issues if they end up skirmishing in this mid game.
Yeah, I mean, Energy has already picked up the QSS and paid the taxes, so he burned his flash and can get flashed by a Skarner. He does not have to be too scared of it, because if he has the QSS and has the ultimate, then he can quite easily disengage with just QSSing, ulting PFI away, and then just shuffling himself to safety. So he does not really have to be scared. But on the other side, Champion, he does. His turret has now fallen. He does not really have a safe place to farm anymore, especially no flash for another 40 seconds, I'm guessing. No QSS. That's, I think, the prime target for PFI currently.
Definitely. He's sort of got a bit of like a charity shop build at the moment. He's got loads of different components, which are all individually quite strong, but you quite like a completed item on that Gnar right now. But he's just not had the gold to do it. I think if we take a look at the Aurelia's lead over him here, it's going to be quite significant. Yeah, oh my god, look at that. That's 2.5k lead here for Mopilian, and Aurelia is the sort of champion that definitely uses a gold lead very well.
Yeah, definitely one of the hardest snowballing champions because of how much she can just force fights, dash in, and burn through the HP bars, especially now completing the Blade of the Ruined King, building towards the Immortal Shield as Jeppe got engaged on.
That was a nice body slam away, but it isn't going to matter. He's just going to get taken down. The ult coming through from Den Voxnay, but he's going to have to gun away. The Gale Force, meaning he is able to escape, but PFI is running. He is very hungry. The QSS coming out huge here for Energy as the Bald Ultimate able to stop up this Jhin, but they might be able to land the snare. No, not quite. Obviously, flashes forward with the Q, but the heal means that Energy is going to survive on single-digit HP. Oh my goodness gracious me.
Okay, that was really, really close. Then Fox, he had enough of just being left alone in the bot lane. He wants some blood.
Oh, the champion with a TP. That's a brilliant scat of the week coming out from Beelies. He's just able to completely silence the engage coming through. Forced to flash away at the end there. But that could have been really hairy for London, and that's excellent response there from Beely. Good awareness to see the TP coming from behind and just go, nope, stop it.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what you want to see. Paul's now coming in, so we have a bit of time to talk about that last fight and how in the world no one even died except Jeppe, who of course got engaged on by 4 people. I think that PFI, he went a bit too crazy. He, of course, he had the flash, he had the ult, he just saw someone at half HP flashing in, but forgot that Energy already bought the QSS. Person was another target he could have gone for instead. Energy does almost get taken down, but then Voxner burning the flash, not getting the kill. I'm not sure how worth it is. He has been getting back into the CS game. He was behind like 25 CS at least. Now he's back to only being behind 7, so he's playing it very well, even though he did not get to see a lot of action.
And it is gonna be the Fire Rift coming through. Infernal Drake spawning in around about 15 seconds. Absolved have already got a couple, so that's a potential win condition here. They are a little bit far behind, but if they're able to pick up this Drake and leverage the pressure that having Soul Point does give you, they may be able to... Ooh, I love watching that animation as he spawns in.
Yeah, especially with an Infernal Drake. That is going to be a scary soul if you get put on Soul Point. So, but instead it's going to be London actually starting off the Dragon first, which does put them in a bit of a choke point, which is scary to be against if you are looking at Skude and Energy with those high impact ultimates.
Yeah, but he does have access to his ultimate, so you might be able to knock away Skude here as the Dragon's going to get stolen away by the Bard. Are London beginning to go in for the team fight? Yes, they are going to be pulling back one. That's Pearson. He's going to get taken down here as the Jin ult comes out, trying to cool the curtains for Raya as he's just able to heal and get out of there. That's an absolutely huge steal coming through for Pearson. He pays for it with his life, but that is big for Absolved.
Definitely. I mean, it now puts London on that timer, because in 5 minutes there will be the Infernal Soul spawning, and you do not want to give that over. Because then, okay, well, your squishy targets, they're gonna get burned through immediately. Mid-third will, though, get targeted now by London because they have the main objective. Herald also up. And I think, okay, well, we lost the Drake, but we're just gonna collapse onto the rest of the objectives that are possible for London.
Leavin, we got some more taxes being paid. Raya picking up the QSS as well, and Scoot as well. So that's 3 QSSs. And this is what Skarner is so good at. He just forces you to spend so much gold on items that have situational utility. This is around about 4k of gold that Absolved have had to invest, not in more damage, but in an item just to prevent this champion from doing what he wants to. It's a good purchase, but it definitely just shows the power that Skarner can bring.
Yeah, and that sort of creates a more invisible gold lead for London. They are 2.5k gold ahead, but if you count that 4k indeed from the taxes being paid, it's actually that now that London is a lot farther ahead. That's also why they could quite easily win that fight around Dragon. It was just, I think, pure luck that person was able to steal that and could have kind of put threw salt into their food and into their wounds. And okay, well, Dragon is not ours, but we will still just continue to fight and win team fights, and we don't really care about how strong you were last game. We are confident we can win this game.
Ooh, this horse is going to have to run away here. Being chased down by PSI. Forced to burn that ultimate defensively as Scoot, as Energy maybe overstaying a little bit, as he's just going to be able to shuffle away there. This is very close, but PFI might be able to catch him here. Does have access to the QSS, is going to use that. The ultimate burnt by PFI as they're not able to get a re-engage there. I'm not sure how much I like that. I feel like the threat of the Skarner ult is very powerful. Yes, you've got 3 QSSs on the side of Absolved, but even in the right situation, grabbing a Gnar or grabbing a Bard, having access to that Skarner ultimate and being able to pressure with it, I think is very important. When you know someone can just QSS out of it, and they're not under too much pressure, I'm not sure that using the ultimate is the best thing that you can do there.
Yeah, and definitely still when you don't have that much ability haste. The ultimate, when your ultimate is back up, the QSS will also just be back up with maybe a 10-15 second interval, so you're not going to really be able to do that much with it. Indeed, now it seems that London want to finally take down that mid-third. The Herald,
Oh.
they do still have the Herald, but...
Oh, we've got an engage here. We've got Yepe getting jumped, and we might have a horse going on to Den Voxnay as well. He's going to be forced to flash away, meaning that Hecarim's going to be charging him the wrong direction. But that's a free kill picked up for Absolved. Mid tower not quite going down yet. Someone does just need to go over there and breathe on it, and it will fall over. But London can't be giving up free kills like that.
Yeah, definitely. They overstayed a bit too much to try to get that turret. Of course, they could just use the Rift Herald they got a couple minutes ago to take it down. Instead, they tried to just force it down with the prior they had, not respecting the Ashe ultimate plus the Azir Shurima Shuffle combination to really start fights from a very long range. Now the gold lead is shrunk to 1.5k only for London Esports.
It's going to be interesting to see item completions. We are about 45 seconds away from this dragon, and then Voxnay is very close to this collector at the moment. Not quite purchased it yet, as we may have an engage here. Yepe might be getting caught here. Able to just body slam away. As Absolved, they don't need to go for this fight. If someone burns a flash in the wrong position or an ultimate's used in perhaps an incorrect way, they don't need to go for this. They're not really all that far behind, and they do have that soul point that they can just sit on. So
yeah,
I mean, might instead, just be choosing to trade here. London have given up position on the mid tower.
The dragon has not yet spawned, so I think London, they greeded a bit too much to maybe catch someone out and lose their mid turret before they place the Herald though and pick it up for themselves as well. But now Absolved in a lot better position to try to start this fight.
Champion about to gnaw out. Now, you cannot give this up if you're London. That's going to be such a big swing in favour of Absolved if they do get this. I'd say that, given the pressure that Absolved have been putting on in these fights, they're not even behind now. That ultimate goes wide from the bar, but he isn't quite going to be able to get the stun onto this Jhin. As we've got Champion going in. He's going low, actually. The Gnaw ran out as we got Merpillion on the backline getting shut down here by the Azir. As the fight continues, we've got the ultimate here as Beely is on single-digit HP. Going to pop the Zhonya's, maybe just getting out here as the volleys miss time from Ashes. They're able to take down the Gnar as well. It's currently a 2 for 2, but there are blinking health bars on the side of Absolved. Energy might be looking for a steal here. The smite is available to PFI. He's poking here onto Yepen, who Yepe is able to get the kill, and London are able to get the dragon. Oh my goodness, that was way too close.
Yeah, I mean, it was a fight on two fronts. Merpillion and BV together with PFI trying to stop the engage from Absolved, while Yepe and then Voxen were busy trying to deal with Champion. Eventually, Merpillion and Beely get taken down, but they deal enough damage to the front line of Absolved that they can no longer continue to fight to really contest the dragon. And it's the first Drake now going over for London Esports.
We do have a little bit of a pause. I'm sure we'll be getting back into games soon enough. But yeah, it's that was incredibly close for London there. They were a real big risk of losing that Infernal Soul, which have swung this game right back in Absolved's favour, but they are able to pick it up. As we are just going to be popping out of the game. Yeah, sorry about that. We will get that sorted, and we will have everyone back in the game soon enough. I think just a little bit of technical issues there. But I feel like this is a really nice point for us to stop and really take a stock of this game, because it's so evenly balanced. I feel like these fights are really close in terms of objective trading. Both teams are willing to do that, as we saw the mid tower trade for pressure, and then the Herald being someone to take the other mid tower, and then the big fight coming around about this dragon. Where does this game go from here? Because it's so perfectly balanced at the moment.
I mean, I think it will stay quite calm for the next 5 minutes, and then when we get another Infernal Drake, we will just see another fight, and that will be repeating for every single Drake to come, because it will... I mean, London needs to fight every Drake, because otherwise they lose soul, and when the Infernal Drakes are gone, then it's the Elder Drake, and yeah, you never want to give that one over, so it's just going to be calm, then fight. 5 minutes, nothing, and then fight. So it's yeah, I mean, the only other case where we would see a fight maybe is with Merpillion in the side lanes, because he is still very, very strong. He went 1v3, almost being able to take out Skuda at the start of that fight. So he is still indeed very strong, and he's only gonna go get stronger as the game goes on.
Yeah, definitely. Talking about these sort of late game objectives like the Elder Dragon, like the Infernal Soul as well. How do you feel like that the Infernal Soul sort of ranks up against the Baron? Because the Infernal Soul is definitely preferable in terms of damage in team fights, but the Baron does augment your push a lot. Is that a trade that London would be willing to consider, or is the Infernal Soul just too strong?
I think for London, they do not really want to give over the Infernal Soul because an Ashe and an Azir and a Gnar who really have that long range poke, if you give them an Infernal Soul, they can really make your life miserable and really poke you out before a fight starts to win it before it even starts. So if you're London, I mean, you do not want to give over that Infernal Soul. If you would trade it for the Baron, maybe. Because with the Baron, Merpillion will become unstoppable in the side lanes. And if you leave him alone or leave only Champion to try to stop him, he's just gonna kill Champion and get at least a turret every time he's left alone. So it depends on how big of a risk London wants to take. The thing is also, the Baron is only temporary, while the Infernal Soul will be there for the rest of the game. So I think only if London would be had a lot more in this game, where they were really able to just pressure ending the game, then you can trade the Infernal Soul for the Baron.
Someone needs to make a mock-up of that, like a meme or something. Baron is temporary, Infernal Soul is forever. And it does look like London is setting up some vision around this Baron, possibly trying to force a subjective before that Infernal Soul becomes a question that they have to answer, maybe. So we've got the bot tower taken here by Champion, who, yes, he was put down far behind, but the teamfight utility that Anar can bring when he's in that mega form, maybe offsetting a little bit the deficit he was put in earlier by Merpillion, but Absolved positioning towards the bot side of the map does mean that London are going to have position on this Baron, and they may be looking to just start this up now.
Yeah, I mean, they still have TP on Merpillion, so while all that's happening, I think Merpillion is just now standing a bit safe, so he can TP if it's needed, instead now going to clear the wave while London backs off. PFI positioning very aggressively and maybe looking for a pick, but he's bit too deep.
He's on the wrong side, bro. What are you doing? You're getting stunned up. You're going to get taken down, but we're getting a bop here onto this Bard going into the back line. That's not where he wants to be. He's going to get taken down. That ends up being a 1-for-1 trade for London as they're walking away.
I mean, that's definitely worth for Absol, because you kill the jungler for only your own support, plus you get the TP away from Merpillion, who is that big side lane threat, so it now means that Merpillion is not really allowed to go to the far away lane, but Energy now gets caught out.
Caught here then. Voxnite, really nice spacing there, avoiding the damage from the Emperor's Dividers. We've got a TP on the top side of the fight. We've got Skude avoiding that stun there with the Unstoppable. We've got Merpillion diving back in, forced to flash away. We've got the Jinok coming through, trying to cool the curtains, but Nari's going mega. He's slapping him into a wall, but it's not enough. He's getting taken down. Champion falling. Only one kill here for London, but they may be looking to get this Baron as PFI is respawned and he's making a beeline over there.
Yeah, I mean, they will just start it up. Energy does still have a TP, so he can just, as soon as he respawns, TP back in and maybe help contesting it. They also still have the Bard ultimate, which is, in a Baron situation, very good at stalling it and trying to reposition. But now it's Baron going down very low.
Skude doesn't quite have access to that ultimate yet. Going to get bopped away as London are looking to take down this Baron. Going to slay it. It is going to be a 1-for-1 as we've got a TP coming through here from the Azir. But Energy's not going to be able to get anything there. This is huge for London right now. They did exactly that. They didn't want to mess around waiting for this Infernal Soul to become a question. They grabbed the Baron. When they're on the map again, they're going to be using this to pressure and try and deny that soul and that potential win condition away from Absolved.
Yeah, I mean, now they do have the Baron. They can push in the mid lane and the bottom lane to really create priority for that dragon, which is spawning in 30 seconds, but they do not have a lot of vision as of yet, which is quite scary if you're playing against something like Anar who can just jump out of a bush and knock you into a wall and stun you basically forever. But the main thing is, Skude is still dead. That means that as long as London stay grouped to get vision, they can't really get contested. So they will just now get vision. It is a very nice ward though, next to the jungle entrance for Absolve to spot out Merpalian, but
This is going to be
London
so
starting
close.
up the Drake.
It's going to be the ultimate landing here onto Yepe. He is able to body slam away as we got the Nara about to go Mega. The Bardolt doesn't really hit onto anyone. We're going to have a 50-50 here for the Drake. It is going to go to blue team. That is Infernal Soul picked up by Absolve. And we've got Hecarim diving in, immediately getting suppressed. Vox, they trying to deal the damage, but maybe it's not enough. The shutdown coming through for Ash onto Beely as it's a crazy fight by Absolve. Look like they're winning. They've already picked up 3 members of London as they're trying to kite away. Vox, they flashing in. Oh my god, the stasis coming through. They're still trying to count this out. This Infernal Summoning, they're going to be able to do so much damage, but this Jhin is huge. He was 2-0-5 when this fight started, but I don't know how he's going to end it. He's probably going to end it with a 1 in the Descom on the shot down, coming through onto a Zit, and what a fight coming out from Absolved.
Yeah, Absolved is just saying, well, we don't care that you have a Baron and a Gold Lead, we will just fight you, we will steal the Drake, and then use that Infernal Soul to just blow up your carries. Merpalian did get onto the backline, but he got dealt with well enough with a nice Shuriken Shovel to throw him out, and yeah, Absolve just coming back into this game now. They are taking a firm lead.
And this is class. This is Absolved with falling behind, but they knew that they had this win condition. They knew they had to execute on this fight, as PFI isn't able to pick up person there. They knew they had to execute on this fight, and they were able to pull it out in the clutch when it counts. Excellent play there, exquisite play there, wonderful steal coming away from Skude as Absolved firmly in the driving seat now.
Yeah, now how does London get back into this game? Because everyone has a QSS for Absolved. That means that PFI, well, he's not gonna do anything in team fights. He's gonna run up, ult someone, get QSS, and then he's standing in the middle of an enemy team where he does not want to be. Then it's Merpalian, Beely, and Voxne. They had multiple fights where they did get a lot of free damage, but their damage has just not been enough to get through the front line of Skude and Champion. So it's all gonna depend, I think, on the they need to catch someone out. Use that Gragas ult or the Syndra Stunus. Instead of just PFI getting called out, that is not what you want.
The wrong person being caught for London as we've got Skude charging here onto this Jhin, possibly in the wrong place. That's a really nice body slam. He's going to get taken down, you have to feel. The ult being popped onto Champion, but he's not going to get taken down. The Bardolt not going to land onto Jhin. His energy might be taken down. No, the Ignite means he's just going to be able to live there as we've got Merpalian diving onto Person. As this is a really nice fight coming through here for London. Able to pick up a few quick kills there in their own base. Maybe they're not dead just yet.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about catching people out. Well, it's even easier if they just jump into your base without the rest of the team, like Skude did. He went a bit too far, gets killed, and then...
no, Energy, have you just sold out Riot to die? Oh my goodness gracious, that's a lot of damage. Didn't even see that sneaky Jhin W coming through. Energy, that's what you get for knocking Riot towards London. That's what you get, man. You can't betray your teammates like that, as London potentially could go for an in-hit push here. That's going to be 40 seconds on the Azir, and that's going to be a lot of the wave clear coming out from Absolved, not present.
I mean, they have to be careful though, because there is a lot of poke coming out from Absolved in the S and the Gnar. Plus Skude is now back alive, he can start running at the squad of London as ult goes in, but Raya flashes away and dodges.
This is so tense, this is so tense right now. This is game 2 when you're already down in this best of 5. That's going to be a nice dodge from Yepe, but maybe he's sold out his team there. The Barlock coming through, going to be dropping the stasis as the Gnar is going to get suppressed. He's not quite able to go Mega in time. That's absolutely huge coming out from PFI as he completely ruins that engage for himself. Massive play coming through for London there.
Okay, that was very well done. So now they get out alive. They pick up an inhib turns, no inhib taken down. So it's the gold is back to dead even. I think it's all going to come down to the Elder Drake spawning in 2 minutes, and that's where we'll see how the game will end.
I was not prepared for the banger of the game that this has become. I looked at game 1 and I was like, okay, Absolved are looking really strong. London, perhaps with some draft issues. They've come in, they did the Gragas flex, they've brought the Irelia out, who's been doing a lot of work in team fights, but again, it's Voxne. He was put weak side, but look at him, he's 6-1-5, 283 CS. He's got 4 items. He is doing so much damage right now. And Absolve don't really have a true frontline. Yeah, they've got the Gnar, but when he's mini, he's squishy. When they've got the Hecarim, he's not building loads and loads of armor. So this Jhin is actually going to have an alright time against this lineup.
Yeah, but we can't really discard any of the damage from Absolve because they still have the Ashe and the Azir who deal a lot of damage and a lot of DPS, and late game is now Bardot comes out on Baron.
Right, Leavin, I think I might need to take a deep breath because we are going to have some action here. This round would be very big for London if they're able to pick it up, but we've already had some seals coming out from Skudip. PFI taken very low. The Unstoppable Onslaught going to be going into the pit as the entire of Absolve is going to get scattered back. They're not DPSing the Baron. They're waiting for him to go low, but Champ is going low himself. We have Mappillion diving into the back line. We've got a flash away coming from Person. Big stunts coming through, and that is the Baron going to I don't know who. They got the Baron? That's a huge team fight coming out from London. They got the Baron? They got the Baron!
London got the Baron, and they are very, very happy with that fight. Getting 2 kills, no one dying. Elder Drake spawning in 10 seconds, and Absolve, they cannot contest this. This is going to be an Elder Drake and a Baron buff for London Esports.
Oh, grab your friends, grab your co-workers, grab your nan. This is a banger of a game. This is London going down, pulling it back, trying to turn it around against Absolve. One of the favourites to take this group, possibly one of the favourites to take this tournament. And London are absolutely going all out as they are going to be able to secure this Elder Dragon.
Okay, now it's London back in the driving seat. This game has gone back and forth and back and forth, and I don't know how many times it will be able to do that because, I mean, with now the Baron and the Elder for London, I think we will see the end of the game soon, but we still, the damage from Absolve this late in the game with the Azir and the Ashe, that's still going to be very, very difficult to deal with if you don't blow them up immediately. So London, while they now have the 2 major buffs, they still have to be very careful to not overstep and maybe get called out before they want to really fight.
Definitely, this game is on a knife's edge. I barely speak above a bare whisper because I don't want to sully the absolute beauty of the drama that we've got at play here as the inhib is taken here by London. Are they going to push forward? Are they going to go for a win? The Hex Flash channeled. He's not going to go anything. We're looking for a big ultimate coming out from Yepe as we've got the QSS popped here by the Bard. That Skarner ultimate now down as they are trying to get this cannon minion to do the work. They are just going to be forced to back away. They might empower this next wave through. Okay, this is it. They've got 2 late game buffs. The ultimate going to be cast here. The curtain call coming through. The Bard ultimate in response. As that's one less tool that Absolve have to deal with them. As we've got Riot separated from the team. He's going to get shut down. That's a kill for Beely. It's a 4v5 for London. A tower's going down. Wonderful ultimate coming out from Yepe. 2-person body slam as he's taking this Hecarim away from the carries. He tried to go unstoppable, but he's being stopped right now. London are wiping this fight. They're taking down Absolve, and they're going to be taking game 2 in this series.
We have a series. Finally, okay, London's coming back very, very well in this game. The late game team fighting, which is too strong for them, being able to pick up the 2 major buffs and end the game with it, that was beautiful.
Oh my word, I don't know if I can cast a game through this. My heart is beating. Holy moly. Even giving up the Infernal Soul, they were in such a commanding position early on, then they slowed down. Absolve were able to come back in and contest these objectives, pick up that soul, but then consistent, excellent team fighting coming out from London, meaning that they're able to take the Elder, able to take the Baron and get the win in the end. We are going to be going to a short break right now. Don't go anywhere. I don't know why you would. We are going to be back with Game 3 in just a moment. Oh my god, we are back for Game 3 of one of the most intense games of League of Legends I've ever watched. London going down in the first game in a fairly comfortable game for Absolve, but absolutely bringing it back in Game 2 with one of the most exciting games of League of Legends I've ever had the pleasure of casting.
Yeah, I mean, they completely switched up their strategy. Instead of trying to go for the bot lane and getting Den Voxen ahead, they put him on weak side duty and instead focused more towards the top lane and get their Aurelia just super fat, and that's exactly what they did. And I think that showed that, well, okay, we have played for our first 4 games where it sort of to protect the ADC style and didn't really work, and to show that type of adaptation to really show that, okay, we know how to play other playstyles as well, and we are actually a very good team, so try beating us now.
I mean, definitely. I think we went. I think everyone went into this series sort of looking at London as sort of a little bit below a team like Absolve, but I think they've shown that they've come to play in the second game. Like you said, really smart adaptation on the fly, making Merp the carry, giving him ganks, giving him kills, giving him gold. But let's not say that then Voxnay did nothing, because he really came out clutch in late game team fights. Whilst he was playing weak side, he managed to avoid dying, and that Jhin was doing disgusting amounts of damage.
Yeah, I mean, of course, he had a bit of a rough laning phase where he fell behind quite some CS, but once he got unleashed and was allowed to leave that bottom lane, he just went insane. He could deal so much damage with the Gale Force plus Collector combo plus even more crits later on, and he could we saw later it was good he jumping onto him, and then Voxen is just like, no, I good luck trying to kill me. I deal more damage than you, so yeah, he showed.
It shows what we know. I think there's a reason why we're casting and not playing, because we were both, after that first game, we were like, Skude's Hecarim is just too OP, just ban it. And then London were like, no. We've got a plan. We get the Skarner, we get Irelia super fed, and then Hecarim in mid game when he's not ahead and in late game isn't really anywhere near as scary. It's a champion that needs to snowball early, needs to get ahead, needs those items to be relevant, and London were just able to punish the pick really well and then win on other parts of the map.
Yeah, I also think that especially in his build, Scooter went a bit over aggressive. He went for the Triforce plus Starets combo, which of course is very strong if you're ahead, but if you're only even or falling behind, it's way better to just go tank and let the rest of your teammates deal damage, because while everything was happening, it was still Ryu who was getting quite a lot of kills on that Ashe and was able to output a lot of damage. So I think Scooter, well, he had a very strong first game. He should have taken it a bit differently in the second game.
I mean, yeah, you can definitely pivot on a champion like Hecarim, especially when you've got Azir and Ashe on your team, who obviously the Ashe not dealing so much damage, but you've got a little bit of physical damage from the Hecarim anyway. But Azir, really big hyper carry in the mid lane, so you don't necessarily need a lot of damage coming out from your jungle pool. And I think that second game really presents a lot of difficult questions for Absolve that they need to answer now. So London have proved that they aren't just going to fall over and take a beating. They are willing to adapt. They are willing to change up their strategy. And I think it's going to be really interesting to see how they respond. If you're in that Discord call with them right now, what do you think they should be looking to do?
I mean, they should just take it a bit more calm. Don't, because, well, it was a very close game. It was mainly because both teams got a lead and then started to throw it away. You have to take it a bit more calm. Just wait until the objectives spawn and set up around them carefully. Place a lot of vision. Make sure that you know where the enemy is, and definitely do not get caught out.
Definitely. So maybe not as much an issue with draft, but in-game execution. As I think they definitely made good plays, but just weren't able to find the victory in the end, as London were able to take it. As we are back into Champion Select now. Caitlyn going to be first ban again, responded with the Camille. I think these are going to stay roughly the same as they have last game, and the rest of this series. That's the Skarner ban coming out. Now, this is interesting. Absolved really don't like banning Skarner. I don't think they place a lot of value on it as a champion. So PFI has really riled them a little bit there with this pick, and they are forced to take it away.
Yeah, I mean, that does mean that if the hacker does now not get banned by London, what answer do they have against it? Because, of course, the Skarner was a counter towards the hacker, but if you leave it open again, is Scooter just gonna have another performance like that game 1 where he was uncountered and he could just go around free and do whatever he wants? But now you're back to the difficult position of, do you ban Seraphine or do you ban Hecarim?
Well, they banned the Seraphine at last game and it did work out for them, but like you said, they did have access to that Skarner, which they aren't going to anymore. So this third ban going to be really interesting to see what London go for, and probably going to tell us a bit more about what they plan to draft in general. So it is the Seraphine banned. They are willing to give up that Hecarim, and going to be interesting to see whether Absolved think it's first pick worthy, or whether they think that London are going to have another answer. No, it is the Azir again.
So yeah, I mean, Energy, he did not have a bad showing at all on this year. He was able to output a lot of damage, and I think his Shurima shovels were very well used to really get back into the game and getting a lot of picks. So definitely a good pickup for them. But it does mean now that you leave the counter pick open for Beely, plus the Hecarim is still open.
Yeah, Rel going to be locked in here. Really contested pick. Was banned in the second game, but was picked by London in the first, and Yepe is going to be on that champion again. Just can do so many things, has loads of utility, and just gives you a lot more options than maybe another sort of tanky support would do.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the Rel, she can either engage or follow up engage or just peel. She can do basically everything what the support wants, and they pair it up with another Gragas pick. This time it won't be able to be flexed towards the bot lane.
We could have an AP Gragas mid. I don't think that's likely. This is gonna be in Merp's hands. Maybe he wasn't too happy with the way that Yepe was playing it last game. It was like, give me that back. I was kind of smurfing. Let's do that again. So that's interesting from London. They're actually, this seems to be a bit more of a return to the previous style that they played, as that is going to be the Alistair lock in here. Going to be going on to person with that. And I'm looking at Skid Summoners. I don't know if he's just like not changed them, but this is possibly indicating a Hecarim pick here.
I mean, it is still open, and I mean, he might be a bit scared because of that last game, but instead now the Fiora being locked in as the counter towards the Gragas.
Champions Fiora, he is 5-0 with this in the TES Denmark. Absolute terror of a champion. And really something that does quite well against the Gragas. A lot of targeted and telegraph CC on that champion. So I think champions are going to be quite happy with that matchup as we're waiting to see what Beely's going to lock in. It is the Syndra, not really a surprise there. Was quite happy picking that into the Azir last game, and he is going to be doing it again in this final game of the series.
Yeah, I mean, so we still have... I mean, Gragas can potentially be flexed to the jungle position and get maybe pick up a counter pick against something like against the Fiora. But I think if you do that, if you pick something like the Malphite, who is a very strong counter, or the Ornn, who just gets too tanky, then you're gonna lack damage. Because if you put a Gragas jungle, if it does not go AP, then the only damage is a Syndra and an ADC, which in the first game was not enough for.
No, when you start building up that tanky front line, champions like Syndra aren't really able to do much against that. As this is really interesting. Okay, that's a Hecarim ban coming through from Absolved, as they really don't want PFI to get his hands on that. So by picking the Syndra, they have given themselves first pick priority, and Absolved are like, no, the Hecarim didn't go well for us last game, but we don't quite want to give it to you, as the Olaf's being banned here. So the jungle pool's been pinched quite a bit. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 jungle bans already coming through.
Yeah, I mean, 4 jungle bans. They do not want to let Scooter run around. Same for PFI, who did have a very good showing, especially in the early game. Renekton being banned, so they do maybe think that PFI will be playing the Gragas.
They're hedging their bets a little bit. Okay, we don't want to give you a strong jungle champion like Hecarim, but we also think that could be flexed into the jungle, so they do want to take away the...
And it is.
Now, that is a jungle Gragas. So we've had 3 Gragas games this series from London, and every time it's been played by a different champion. I don't know how I want to rank it. I feel like Mopilian had a really nice Gragas in the first game, but the game just kind of got away from him, and I didn't focus too much on Yepe in the second, but he was playing that quite well. The Jhin going to be picked up for Raya here, as Pearson is going to be picking what looks to be the jungler on this last pick here for Absolved.
Yeah, I mean, that does mean, okay, Kayn being hovered. That's going to be very interesting. Of course, Kayn does very well into melee champions that don't deal too much damage, like the Gragas. So I think we will get to see a red Kayn this game, because, I mean, blue Kayn can assassinate some people, but there's just a bit too much CC on the side of London. So red Kayn can be very difficult to deal with if you don't get a lot of DPS. But a champion who is still open synergizes very well with the Realm. And
were you going to say Brand? I don't think you were going to say Brand.
I was going to say Kai'Sa, but Brand being hovered, of course.
Oh, there we are.
No, okay, it is going to be the Kai'Sa.
A little bit of a debate there. And you were talking about melee champions that don't deal a lot of damage. I'm going to tell you about a melee champion that deals a disgusting amount of damage. It is going to be the Gangplank here for Mopilian in the top lane. And a lot of options here, I feel like, for London's comps. They've got some picks, some like long-range engage that you could do with like the Syndra, and then the nice little Void Seeker into ult combo coming out from Kai'Sa. It's a very squishy coming out from Absolved, unless that is the red Kayn that like you think so.
Yeah, I mean, I think what also Kayn can do very well is really support the side lane champions like the Fiora, because he moves through the jungle really, really fast, because he can just move through walls, which most junglers cannot do. So that way, then champion can always just try to look for fights with the added pressure the Kayn can really give. Plus, you just have quite an insane amount of wave clear with the Azir, so you could quite easily pull for 4-1 composition for Absolved.
And if they're looking to get this red Kayn, you can gank this top lane quite easily. Gangplank does obviously have access to a fair bit of slows, and the oranges can make everything okay in the right circumstance. But Kayn's definitely sort of champion that can chase down with those Qs, like slashing away at you, popping in and out of walls, doing a whole bunch of damage. And that is going to be getting him his form as well. So we might expect some pressure in the top side here from this Kayn.
Yeah, definitely. I do think that, especially early on, Gangplank will have quite an easy time against the Fiora, just because of his poke. He outranges the Fiora. As long as the fighters are not extremely lucky for her, then she will not be able to really heal everything back up. So early on, it's going to be rough for Champion, but once you get a couple items and you start healing, then it's going to be very difficult for Mopilian to really stay alive.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting move away from what worked from them last game from London. I think the protect the Den composition that they've kind of built here a little bit. They do have a lot of ways of denying access to him. So it's coming out from Gangplank, the barrels, Rel just as a champion is quite good at doing that. So this is a style we've seen work for them before, maybe not as much in this tournament, but we haven't really seen too much of the Kai'Sa from him in the last couple of days. So if he's able to pop off on this, definitely a very good thing, as we are going to be loading into the Rift.
Yeah, I mean, it seems that they are pinging maybe for a 5-man stack to catch Skuda, who, of course, what a Kayn can do, Kayn likes to start at Raptors. What you can then choose to do is start at the enemy Raptors, because usually the enemy does not have vision unless they start on the red buff or on the blue buff. So then if you stack like London is doing now, Skuda is walking up, but the side's better. But
I think he sniffs this out. I think he can... I think Rel might be giving off a smell. And he isn't going to go for it. Oh, what? Is he going to...
I think he's going to play some wand. Yeah.
Okay. And London are going to see that. so they know that he's done that. And seeing the wall being placed means he might be going back here, as Yepe's spending a lot of time on this top side of the map. You might want to get bot lane sometime soon, buddy, as they are really scared of this Kayn invade. Really want to make sure that PFI is not losing these Raptors.
Yeah, I mean...
no,
no,
Yepe, don't look at him. It's mean. It's mean.
Okay. I mean, that does now mean that while usually with a Kai'Sa plus any engaged support lane, you really want to push for that level 2 early on. If Yepe only enters the lane at the second wave, he will miss out on a lot of XP. So it will be a bit more difficult for them to go for the early fight, which opens up maybe the possibility for a person to just jump in onto them Vox who is relatively low ranges. Now we just see that insane amount of poke from the Gangplank.
Yeah, there are some ADCs that do have a level 2 power spike and would benefit maybe a little bit from solo XP. But Kai'Sa's definitely not one of them in the context of being up against an Alistar and Jhin. Although I say that, Rai's taken very low there in the bot side. And forced to burn the flash, actually. Okay, so I don't really know how that happened. Neither of London have burnt any of their summoner spells. Because we do have this Kayn here.
Does get spotted. Yeah, he does get spotted, so the London Esports bot lane can just back off. Scooter knows he's been spotted, so I think just baiting will not work. Even though PFI is right around the corner at the blue buff. Scooter now going in for the invade, but meets Yepe head on.
I think they knew that this could be happening, which is why Yepe has moved here. That airborne's very nice. He is just going to be able to run through the wall, because that's a good idea. As we've got heavy trading in the mid lane. Really going to be forced off this wave. Losing out on some experience, which is definitely impactful early on, as we potentially got a catch here onto Scoot. He's going to get scared up. Wonderful chaining of the CC. He's trying to bop away. He's going to get barreled. He's going to get taken down, as we potentially got a little bit more here. Positioning quite aggressively. Just going to back away. Going to take that first blood. And after an interesting level 1 coming out from London, they do come away with that first blood.
Yeah, I mean, I think what could have happened in the bot lane was, of course, Yepe jumping onto Raya, who does not have any dash or anything to really get away. So then with Dan Fox's level 2 burst with a Void Seeker plus Inpathian Rain combo, you have to. He was forced to use his cleanse to get away. For now, maybe PFI getting called out by Skude and Energy.
He is mobile for a large individual. He is spotted on this control ward. As we've got Merpillion backing in the top lane. But just like showing himself enough that Absolved aren't really too keen on stepping up here, as we've got Hepe roamed actually into mid again. So we're playing this then Voxnate on the weak side again, as Hepe's level 2. And he's smoking an engage here. That's so much CC coming out from the Rel. The chaining is beautiful here onto Energy as he pops the barrier, forced to flash. The level 2 Yepe gank, I guess.
Why not? Yepe likes to roam, so you might have to expect it. But of course, a level 2 Rel jumping in, no one really expects that at 4 minutes into the game. Energy, very nice flash, because Beely predicted his Streamer Shovel into the third range, so now it's actually Raya standing up a bit too far, has to be careful.
Oh, he's going to get caught here. No access to that cleanse, so that stun's going to come through. A lot of burst damage coming out from this Kai'Sa early on, forced to flash, but you've got a re-engage coming through from the Alistar. They're just going to be taking a little bit of damage onto this Rel, but this is really nice stuff coming through from London, punishing these mistakes being made by Absolved, and that's a flash down on a Jhin. That's very nice for you right now.
Yeah, I mean, Jhin without a flash, and if you have a Gragas, if you have a well, it's going to be difficult for him to survive.
Oh, but except got a TP as well. That's a lot of damage coming down onto Beely. We've got Energy here as well. It's a flash forward from Scooters. We've got Energy trying to dash forward. Is he going to be able to take down Beely? No, not quite. Just healing it up with the potions. That's going to be PFI picking up a kill here. London responding to the play really well coming out from Absolved, and that's a second kill for them early on.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about PFI and how good his Gragas would be after seeing two of his teammates play it as well. And it's definitely working so far, picking up both kills. Definitely looking very good. Actually matching the Scudder in CS, which I think matching a Kane is difficult for most champions, let alone a Gragas who does not have the fastest clear. So
Leavin, are these Moby boots on Gragas?
if they are,
I can't see because of the cooldown of the Predator, but those could be Moby.
If they are, then no.
Oh no,
it's
no,
Boots of
Lucidity boots. Okay.
I mean,
can't tell because of all the new icons, man. I don't know what's going on with them.
I mean, Boots of Lucidity, it's been becoming a very popular pickup because the amount of CDR it gives also for summoner spells is quite insane. And to pick it up that early on gives you the possibility to have your flash get at least 25 seconds less cooldown, which is quite a lot if, especially nowadays when people really track summoner spell cooldowns, if you get them to miscount it by 20 seconds, you can do a lot with the flash.
Definitely, I think this is... It's weird to say that Gragas is an off-meta pick because he's a champion that's been so stable in the meta constantly. As we've got Kane getting caught out here. Skun doesn't have access to flash. Gonna get popped, gonna get ignited. There's no way he gets healed up, but they might be able to escape here. Yepe gonna flash out there, just gets taken down there as PFI is low, running away. How agile is this fat man? Looks like he's just agile enough.
Flash in.
Ooh, that was, yeah, a bit of an interesting play here, but this is wasting a lot of time for Absolved here. As Energy is just going to be able to auto him down, maybe not. PFI running near the tower, he's going to take the shot, going to get shut down. But that was free time for Beely in this mid lane. No mana, so wasn't able to maybe get as much damage on this tower as he would have liked, but able to collect a minion wave for free. So not all bad for London, even though that was a little bit of a misplay.
Yeah, but it does now give over 2 kills, including the shutdown onto PFI for Energy, which in a zero hard skating champion, if you give him early gold, he can do a lot with it, because he will spike quite a bit earlier, complete his items a lot faster, and that is not what you want to deal with if you are London Esports.
And we're saying that the draft was a bit more old London, but they've definitely played a really nice roaming style here with Yepe, similar to what we saw in the second game. And then Voxnade's actually been a massive beneficiary of that. Yes, he got the assist on that kill earlier, but he is up around about 20 CS when these waves equalize. So maybe preferring the Kaiser in the 1v1 versus Jin and going, yeah, Hepe, you can go mid, you can do what you want, you can make these plays. Yeah, it was a little bit in just now, but Vox doesn't seem to care.
Yeah, I mean, of course, if you send Yepe to roam all the time, person is basically forced to match it. And then you have the Kai'Sa versus Jhin 1v1. Kai'Sa will win that 9 out of 10 times, unless she jumps under a turret, for example. But so that's why I think, even though Voxna gets left alone quite a bit by his support, he is still able to build quite a decent CS lead for himself already.
Definitely, and this is a strange thing this series. This is London taking down first Dragon, as we've got a possible engage here from Champion up here in the top lane. Is going to pop that ultimate, but he doesn't have a lot of mana. Isn't going to be able to cast these Qs, but Pillion is quite low, as he's just going to be able to walk it out. That's a miscalculation there from Champion. Didn't have the resources to go for that all-in, as that's going to be a Dragon picked up here for London, as they might be looking for an engage on the bot lane. We do have sums here, as that Gragas ult is going a little bit wide, as Yepe is able to escape with a slither of HP, waddling away. Bit of a botched... Oh, just stand still. Just stand still and he's fine.
Yeah, that's always a bit anxious if you see people walking around during a chain ult. You never want to see shot happening, but they actually are continuing
that's
the
a really nice ult from Gangplank, as we've got them Voxnay going here onto Pearson. Doesn't have access to ultimate. One more shot going to take him down, as London are kind of making plays, getting paid right now. All across the map. 5 kills for them. It's a 2k gold lead. They've got that Dragon. They're going to have some time on this bot lane tower, but Energy was able to get a little bit of a push in mid. I hate how fast K moves through the jungle, man. What is that? What is that, bro?
Yeah, it's a bit unfair, but now it's Kane starting up the Herald, but looking over his runes, he did go for the Dark Harvest, which might signal him going for the Blue Kane, which of course Blue Kane very good at the likes against the likes of Gangplank.
Is Hepe going for a 1v1 here? He's jumping onto Scoot. He stops him from going into the wall here. He's going to be able to get the stun in a second, and the ultimate being popped. Is he going to be able to escape here? Now Merpillion got the kill, but that felt. Oh no! 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 My goodness gracious! Betrayed by the Rift.
I mean, the Rift did help him secure that kill onto Scooty, and besides, well, I helped you.
The Hex Slash going to come
back,
out
so
here. That's a nice low coming through from Beely as they're just able to kite out Champion a little bit. And the the creatures of the Rift notwithstanding, this has been quite clean coming out from London. Epe coming for another gank here on that. That is such a nice stun. Beely doing wonderfully. The flash cask is going to knock him into tower, but it's not going to matter. Beely throws the balls at him, gets the kill, and London are dominating right now.
Yeah, very nice CC chain by London to be able to just put everything out for each other, knock energy under the turret. He tries to escape. The damage from Syndra is just a bit too much already. Scooty going for his Raptors, but London going for the invade.
And this game is kind of in Yepe because he's going to flash onto this Kane. They're going to be able to get the stun up on him as that's so much damage coming out. I think we had a gank in mid from PFI as well.
Oh,
as Beely gets executed. The Rift hates London right now, but they do not care. They're going to be summoning the Rift Held. Yepe's going to get taken down, but this is a couple plates going through. A little bit of a blunder there. Den's going to be getting those plates, but they're not going to be able to secure first tower. And I feel like the Rift has actually gotten more kills against London than Absolved have right now, as we've got Den going for a 1v1. Raya, goodbye! Just one shot by the Vok. 2 levels up. This is amazing from DV.
2 levels up already. That's just quite insane. He is just very dominant in this bot lane. He's already 50 CS ahead, while Merpillion almost just blows up Champion and now gets engaged on.
This King doesn't quite have the transform though. Even if he gets out, he's not going to be able to take him down. Merp in the 1v2 gets the kill. Is he going to be able to turn it onto this Fiora? No, this is insane. Nice riposte, but it's not enough. Double kill coming through from Merpillion. And London, what's going on, guys? You're just smurfing on this team coming out from Denmark as Rise having to back away in this bot lane. This is beautiful from watch. This is a 6k gold lead at 14 minutes from a team that many people were saying we're going to get 2-0'd, or it'd be a 2-1, but Absolve would be able to take it. London are here to play in the Telia Masters tournament.
Yeah, it seems like just the mental of Absolve is not completely there. They are looking a bit shaky, taking fights they should not be taking, and I mean, that might just happen after you lose such a close game like Game 2. You just feel a bit tilted and you start making risky plays, and it's not paying out for them because they are now almost 7k gold behind. And how are you ever going to survive the insane amount of damage from Merpillion, Beely, and then Voxnet?
This is where, as a veteran player, you need to stand up and calm down your team. Someone like Energy has played at the highest level of League of Legends. He was on the Besiktas team in 2015 that went to MSI. This guy has laned against Faker. It didn't go particularly well, but he's been in these stressful situations. He's been in situations like this before and come out on top. He needs to be a calming voice for this team. They need to stop going for these risky plays that have a low percentage chance of working and start identifying where they need to be and how they get back into this game.
Yeah, I mean, what they do have on their side is the insane scaling that they have. Of course, Fiora, no one can match her in the side lane at 3 items. Azir, almost no one can match that amount of DPS he can have in a team fight. Kane, almost no one can match his mobility and just sheer burst coming out. But the problem is they have to get there. They are now 7,000 gold behind. they have to make sure to not lose more. They have to just keep farming up. But with the lead London has, they can just decide to walk into the jungle of Absol and take away all the gold.
Yeah, you really can just play so disrespectfully with a goalie like this. As Scooter might be playing disrespectfully here. I called him Jungle Diff personified, but he is getting gapped here! Merpillion with so much damage coming out of these barrels! And he's 0-6, man. He's 0-6 and 3. He's just not doing it. He's taking off comfort and he's just not playing well.
If your whole own jungle gets taken away, then the only option you have is going to the enemy jungle. And, well, there's just... He does not have the vision to really do that. If he did not see Dan Voxna anywhere on the map, he saw Merpillion was very close by in the top lane. So, going a bit risky all, yet, but just missed the wreck down.
And this is important to note what London have done. That they've moved this Syndra off into the bot lane to match against the Azir. And it means that they've got this huge Kai'Sa coming through in the 4v4 with the rest. Oh my goodness gracious me. That damage is illegal coming out from Gangplank.
Yeah.
Resolved are trying to look for something, but I don't think there's anything to do. He's Blue Kayn as well. He's not got enough items to justify the form that he's in. You want something safer right now. You don't want an assassin. As we've got a possible engage coming through onto Merpillion, but this didn't go well for Absolved last time, but they might be able to get something here. He is taken very low. The ult going to be forced out, and that is a big shutdown coming through onto the Fiora, but are London able to respond here? We do have flashes available for the Fiora. She's just going to walk away, as that's not quite the stun coming through, but it doesn't matter. Divok is doing so much damage right now. As London end up getting a 1-for-1 in the long, as we potentially got to catch it onto Energy. He was recalling in a bush. Buddy, you can't do that. Nice ultimate away, but he's really stuck between a rock and a hard place. The flash coming through from PFI, not entirely necessary, but he is going to be able to get out. That's very clean there. The ultimate not knocking him into danger, actually knocking him to safely, and that's a bit of a misplay there from London. As they can't do that too many times. This is here, 4-2-0. He is the sole hope for this Absolved lineup right now. As they perhaps got an engage coming through in the mid lane from Pearson here. It's a low mana here on Divok, as that's a flash coming over, but it's just going to be responded to with a TP. They can't do enough damage here. They might be able to take down Yepe, as they're just going to stand in front of him, block him, as PFI, meanwhile, comes back to claim what was rightfully his, getting a kill on Energy in the bot lane. So it was a TP burn there from London. Absolved are going to be happy with that. That's a small victory, but losing this is here in the bot lane is definitely not something that they're a fan of. We've got potential engage here. The flash coming through from Scoot, and it's still Kayn, man. He still does damage on squishy targets.
Yeah, of course, he still is an assassin, completing the Prowler's Claw, which gives him a lot of damage and also target access, but I think... Okay, you can actually jump past the turret. I did not know that was possible, but I think, okay, yeah, in a side lane, sure, you can pick off people. When London starts team fighting, then it's going to be near impossible, because there will always be a Gragas or a Rel next to the carries to just protect them, and as soon as you jump in as the Kayn, you will get engaged on and you will just get blown up.
Count with me, 1, 2, 3. That is the number of items on them Voxne right now. And count with me, let's look at the items on his opposition. 1. This is a hard ADC diff right now. We were looking at Rhea as a potential challenger, a real threat to Den Voxne's reputation as one of these up-and-coming AD carries. Is he going to be able to mess with the big boys? And I think the answer is pretty categorically yes.
Yeah, well, having already gotten one solo kill onto Raya as well to just seal the deal, but 700 gold shotgun on him, that just shows how far ahead he is. He's almost 75 CS ahead, 4 kills and 3 assists. He is just, yeah, I mean, he did not even get played around that much. It was him actually roaming up and picking up kills, so instead of the team coming to him and saying, okay, here you go, then Voxne, please take this gold, take our humble lord, accept her offering. Instead it's him saying, no, I will decide what I want and I will just walk up and take what is mine. And he is just looking so strong, and I do not know how Absolved is going to deal with him.
And that's That's maybe, you can look at a carry player, a highly skilled player in two ways. You can either go, okay, we need to play around this guy, we need to get him fed, we need to put gold on him so that he can carry us. And I think sometimes you can get baited into making bad decisions in your overall map movements and in your drafts. Because there's another option. There's, we trust this guy to be able to generate his own leads, to be able to push his own advantages, to be able to take his own opportunities. And London haven't played around him at all, and Denvok has really proven that that faith that they've had in him to be able to side lane effectively, to be able to match up against this Jhin, was completely well-founded, and he's managed to get a massive lead here. It is 22 minutes in, so Baron is potentially an option, as we've maybe got an engage here onto Merpillion, but the barrel placements I'm looking at here, he's maybe smelling something. We've got Scoot coming over the wall. We've got a potential engage here right now. This is their go-to. This is who they've been bullying. The flash coming out. The oranges, and it's not going to be okay, buddy. Wait, the Immortal Shield Bow is actually really powerful. Oh my god, Merpillion!
He does it again!
In the 1v2, this guy is cracked! Holy moly!
You're not locked in here with me. Wait, no. I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me. That is what Merpillion is saying now. He does not care that he's getting ganked. He just, for the second time now, gets ganked, gets kills. He is just a monster right now, and yeah, it's looking very grim for Absol because whatever they're trying to do to get back into this game, it's not working for them.
I see the Kayn pop the ult, and I'm just seeing, like, it was at this moment Scoot knew he effed up. Under the tower, able to take him. They're dropping the scuttle on the Baroness. Please don't steal this with Jhin. Oh my god, it went down to 45 health, but they're still able to get it. And you'll know they'll take the fight afterwards because they are so far ahead. The Champa, nice riposte. They're actually dodging away for the ultimate damage, and it might be actually quite significant as Yepe's forced to flash away. It's a double kill coming through for Denvok as he's chasing onto this Azir. That's another kill dropping here as that Alistair isn't going to be able to escape there. He is lasagna. Triple kill coming through for Denvok. That is Baron right now for London, and what can they get with this?
Well, at least the top turret, as they're already moving up there. BD can probably start to take down the mid turret as well, and then they can start to pressure those inhibitors. They can, I think what they should just do, now that Merpillion is getting his TP back up, you just put Merpillion on the side lane and play around then Fox on the mid lane or on the top lane. Just get down those inhibitors. Don't yet take down the inhibs, because when you take down an inhib, you open up one possibility for Absol to get back into this game, but just giving them an insane amount of free farm and XP, which the super minions give.
And it is a 13,000k 13,000 gold lead for London right now. Dragon spawning in a minute and a half, and you'll know they're going to be taking that soul. Air Drake, not the best soul to have, but I think if you want to close a game, it does give you the ability to get onto the enemy champions and to force these fights. And when you've got a gold lead like this, I don't think you really need extra damage.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need extra damage, but still you have a full AP Dragon, still you have a full crit Gangplank, so you don't need the extra damage, but you have it.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
That was a lot of damage, my dude, as the rel is going on here. They're invading this red buff. This doesn't belong to you, Absolved. Trying to knock him back here, but he's able to Gale Force back in. Denvok takes another kill. He is legendary. They're able to pick up that red buff. You should have just given it to them, Absolved, as they've given everything else. That dragon is spawning in around about 30 seconds, but I don't know if London even care about that. They might be going for some pushes here onto some inhibs.
Yeah, I mean, they are 13k ahead. No, 14k ahead already. They can pick up the Cloud Soul when it spawns in 20 seconds, but they don't have to. They still have the Baron buff. They can take down inhib turns. As Yepe now gets engaged and has to be careful.
Well, I'm not sure how much Absolve want this. Okay, bye-bye, Kayn. You're gone. Yeah. Oh, there comes Denvok. You know he's going for it. The Acathian Rain like acid. Energy solo as Beely kills Champion on the other side as he's going to chase him down. There he goes. Double kill for him. Double kill for Denvok.
And I think that's London, gonna be game. Yeah, London now still has a wave in bot lane. Baron does timeout, but it's still at least 30 seconds on the carries of Absolved. London with a very, very dominating game 3 to win their first series of the Telia Masters Spring 2021 season.
I'm kind of in shock right now. After that
Yeah.
game 2, I was expecting sort of something similar. I was expecting... I don't know what I was expecting. I was expecting something better from Absolved, though, certainly. London were just able to walk over them. Strong mental players coming out from #TeamUK as they were able to get the dub there in what many were predicting were going to be one of their hardest series in this Telia Masters tournament.
Yeah, I mean, bouncing back from that loss yesterday, from that first game to bit messy game 2, but they do get that win to now to then open up the third game to really show how good they are actually. Because if they just get a good draft and are online and have the momentum on their side, they are unstoppable, as we saw.
Definitely, definitely. And I am really excited to perhaps cast, perhaps watch them play tomorrow as they do pick up that victory. I think that is going to be all for us here today. Like I said, you can catch us again tomorrow on this channel at 5:30 p.m. GMT. That's 6:30 p.m. Central European Time. Be sure to follow London Esports on Twitter for more updates. I've been Middlecourt, you've been Leavin, and we are leaving. Goodbye.
Goodbye.